Well, welcome everyone. I think, right? Hey, welcome everybody. Good to have you with us on this Google Plus week. We're going to discuss the week's tech news, and we're also going to discuss some other non-tech stuff, including the controversy over the Duck Dynasty story, A&E, and all that stuff. But first, we're going to do the tech news, beginning with our 2-hour photo roundup. Just kidding, not really. So let me introduce the panel in our before we begin. I'm glad to see Pam's here because she had posted earlier that she would be here barring death or injury. And so I was concerned when she was late getting here if we would have to contact someone. I wasn't sure who to contact. But Alan Firstenberg, how are you, sir?
Peachy keen, Dan.
Alan is our lighting director for the program.
If you're going to do this, we will...
Alan, yeah, I got to tread carefully because Alan has much more on me than I have on him. Because he is much a mystery. Also, we have Mr. Harold Carey. Welcome, Harold.
Yata A.
That's right. So where can folks find information? Because I know our viewers are dying to know how they can learn the Navajo language. It's not just cool. It's very practical. There are many jobs you can get if you speak Navajo. So tell us where folks can find out about your awesome Navajo Hangouts. And I think
Google
it's 11-part series so far and going.
On Google Plus at Navajo Language Lessons.
Excellent. Also joining us is Mr. Michael Banks from Augusta, Georgia. Welcome, Michael.
What's happening?
I know you're multilingual, Michael, but you don't speak Navajo, I don't think. Maybe you should hook up with Harold, and you could add another feather in your hat and learn Navajo.
I'm still trying to get fluent in Spanish.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Tengo hambre.
All right. Yeah, as usual. Okay, and then Mr. Michael Ellis joins us. He also does some foreign language hangouts, and he started out of necessity, not interest.
Yep.
Tell us where folks can find your German and other foreign language hangouts.
LanguagePracticeHangouts.com, the website. There's a calendar, or the community in Google Plus, Language Practice Hangouts. You'll
Awesome.
find German, French, Spanish, English, Romanian, Slovenian, Russian, Turkish, Italian, American Sign Language, and want to talk to Harold about Navajo.
I was going to just suggest that because for no other reason than you could get like a great free publicity story on CNN or whatever about that, offering Navajo along with the other languages. That would be a great human interest story. That'd be good PR for both of you. You should hook up
Plus,
together.
we've got 45,000 members that might be interested.
Absolutely. I think that's a small number of people who want to spend time learning the Navajo language. I applaud.
Exactly.
I'm trolling Harold. I'm joking with him, but I adore what he's doing. I think it's awesome.
We have 300,000 members of the Navajo Nation.
Don't they all speak Navajo, though?
No, I would say probably 30%.
Can you convert to the Navajo people? I mean, are there like people who want to learn it, but you know they could become Navajo if they learn the language?
But the young people don't know it. I would say 90% of the older people know it.
Awesome. And also joining us is Pam Adger, who's apparently blocked me from any Hangout chat because I tried to invite her when I initially invite Alan, and it won't let me.
What?
It won't let me plus mention you in that thing when I try to do it. I think I'm blocked. I'm on her block list.
Well, Well, I'll see what I can do.
She's a woman of discerning taste, Dan. What do you expect?
Pam,
Apparently,
I have more
didn't-
respect for you every day.
Absolutely.
Alan-
Exactly.
Ellen will have to plus mention me for you, I guess.
Pam's an excellent judge of character, and it's snowing. Also, we have Mr. Craig Shipp joining us from Sarasota, Florida. It's apparently snowing where Pam is, and now it's definitely not snowing in Sarasota. Welcome, Mr. Craig Shipp.
Yeah, I had to turn my ceiling fan down. I was running the ceiling fan because it's actually a little bit warm here today. So it was about 80 or so degrees. So a little bit on the warm side.
Suffering. Dan, we feel your suffering, Craig.
Absolutely. When I stare over my heat vents, it's quite warm. So
Right.
I can feel your pain, Craig. It must be
But I
awful.
understand it's going to be warm there tomorrow. I was just talking to a friend of mine.
65 or something here, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to have a warm day tomorrow.
Good for us. About 85 where you are, probably?
It'll still be low 80s, 80 or so. Not much more than 80 this time of year.
We're going to get up to 28.
Wow.
Joining us from... Is that Moritz?
No,
No.
it's Sheila.
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 Oh, my God.
I
was looking at
understand the
tiny
two of them look
thumbnail.
Very similar, but
Yeah, I frequently confuse those two.
Wow.
Sheila is in the Christmas spirit. Welcome, Sheila DuBois,
Hi.
in West Jordan, Utah, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Also known as Moritz.
Oh, my God. Oh, this will...
Yeah, quite the transformation here.
I fear,
another one that we're not going to let you live down, Dan.
I fear
Yeah.
I have created a new meme.
I'm better looking though.
The Utah woman with a German accent.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll remind our viewers that we are also taking your comments, like this great one from Captain Euro. Today's payday, and I could be out like most normal people having a good time, but I'd rather celebrate it with a pizza watching this show. I work with OSX all day long, so this is like a mini vacation. Great to have you with us, Captain.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. And then,
Hey,
let's
Captain
see.
Euro, shout out.
Okay, so there we go. That's our panel. Take it or leave it.
And it's cold here.
It's not cold where Craig is. So you have
No, it's
no
cold.
sympathy from
We had
him.
a little blizzard yesterday, and more hitting tomorrow.
All
I'll
right.
send you some.
Please
So-
do.
So to lead off, it's been an awesome year, pardon the pun, and this is an interesting thing because Vic Indotra said he's the head of Google Plus, senior vice president of Google. He's has a modus operandi where he always says, "I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight," and that means they're gonna release something the next day. And so what they released was, so far, we don't know all they're going to release, and apparently they're going to be releasing things
What else?
this week.
Mhm.
But one thing was this annual review Auto Awesome. So, Alan, you want to tell us what that is? Have you seen
Sure,
one
exactly.
also?
The only one I've seen was the sample one they've posted yet. I haven't seen anybody else post one, but what they've told us is that if you've been posting photos and videos all year through Auto Awesome, through Auto Backup or Instant Upload, they have a process that will be going through all your photos and will, if it finds enough good ones and enough high quality ones, and it flips a coin nicely, it will generate an Auto Awesome movie for you with your year's highlights, and this will be your movie for your year. So I think it's kind of a neat angle on it.
I think it's pretty
Well,
cool. I know who's starting to talk. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, are they going to put like a soundtrack with it or something too?
The sample did come with the soundtrack, so I assume it will be one of their publicly licensed
So they'll
generic noise.
So they'll flag it and monetize it.
Yeah, so we won't be able to
strike your-
monetize it.
No, they'll probably monetize it and they'll flag it and ban you from YouTube because of a copyright strike.
Yeah, they'll give you a ding.
Right. Because they do that with their that happened with me, and I think in the library it actually says that you can still monetize these videos. But when I used one of their free video or audio tracks, when I used one, shortly after they announced it, right? It's because we always test all this crap, and so I used one and I got a ding, and it told me that you may be using copyrighted content. and you may see ads on your video. So they took away my ability to monetize it, which isn't a big deal because it was a test video. And then they said you have a copyright strike or whatever, and I was just
Does anybody know if that
thing.
is still the case? Does anybody know if that is still the case? Because that seems really counterproductive if that's true. Does anybody know? Guess not.
Guess not. One of the things I thought was interesting about the Google, Auto Awesome Year in Review is, I don't know, is anybody still on Facebook, and has anybody noticed if Facebook was doing something similar?
I was just about to point that out. Facebook did theirs starting last year, though. So I mean, theirs is awesome the way theirs work, and Google Plus needs to get to that level in that aspect.
What does Facebook do? Because I didn't notice them doing it on my stuff.
If you go in your profile, you should see a little rectangle saying your year in review, or stuff from this year, and it aggregates posts and different pictures and stuff. It shows you your year as you scroll and all this other neat stuff. And
when you say profile,
that sounds like your timeline, though.
Well, timeline thing, yeah, that thing.
I mean, if it's just the timeline or whatever they call it, if it's just the timeline, okay, that's not bad. But
they bought a they also had a spot where you could do the video portion as well, because the company was doing it that put an app into Facebook, and they bought that company out, so they integrated. It happened like 2 years ago, but I mean, Facebook started the trend with this year in review. I think, other than the YouTube Rewind, I didn't really see anything social-wise that did like a year in review. But it's not. I think it's in the early stages as far as Google's.
Yeah, I'm on mine right now. It is pretty cool. It creates like a whole page, 2013 year in review. Now, can you go back and look at previous years as well?
I don't think so, no.
And it's neat because it changes the photos. It creates a big banner at the top and a montage of photos, and those are changing.
Can someone screen share and show us what you're talking about?
I can show mine.
I don't know where it is on mine.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
But in the previous years, they did video where it was more like Auto Awesome.
Okay, so I've got mine shared, and you can.
What did you click on to get there?
There was a thing that said 2013 year in review on the left on my homepage or whatever, and you see how those photos are changing.
Yeah.
That little grid of photos, they're changing. Okay, so then as you scroll down, you see your friends in 2013, and then it has a video there, and then it has photos on the left, and then it has a whole bunch of photos there, and then it just has like other bigger pictures on the right.
Show me on the left where you see that button, because I don't see that button.
Well, that was on my main page. So if I go back,
yeah.
If I go back, see where it says 2013. See your 2013 year in review.
Oh yeah, there. I don't have that.
Yeah. So I just clicked on that, and that's what brought me to this special page. But I don't see a way that I can, for example, check 2012 out.
You can't. And from what I'm reading, I mean, although other people can see it and they're going to only see what they want, the concept is different. I mean, I think this is interesting. This is kind of more of a, again, grabbing specific posts and so forth. I looked at mine. It didn't do a very good job, but I also haven't posted all that much on Facebook this year. I'll be curious to see just how how Google's one comes out. The comparisons that I've read so far, all of the critics that I've read have basically said Google's is much better, assuming you actually have photos on Google. So they're still pretty critical of Google in general.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And you also have to have auto uploaded them, not done it by hand, right?
That's
really?
what it sounds like, but it's not clear.
Really?
As usual, there's a lot that's unclear about it, because this is Google. See, I can take any great feature and trash them about it.
Right. Why would they require that you upload it? Auto-upload it, I mean.
Couple of reasons. My biggest guess is they don't want people using this to just create videos, one. Two, they want to encourage the auto-upload feature.
Okay, well, I guess I can understand that. Yeah.
Now, Alan.
Just to finish, and then I'll answer you, Craig. And three, they don't want to create they don't want to create this awesome movie of, say, Pam's thong pictures.
So Alan, I think that would get a lot of hits though. But Alan, here's the deal. All I do is I upload all my photos to Picasa Web Albums, and then they automatically do the auto awesome things, and they even do the auto backup thing. But all I'm doing is using my Picasa Web Albums uploader thing that I have, and I'm uploading them to that. And so do you think that will count?
I don't know. I honestly don't. I mean,
because they're definitely doing the auto awesome stuff on my photos.
Yeah, but we know that they're doing auto awesome based. I mean, they specifically said it's going through the auto backup.
I also have the auto backup shows up for mine too.
Well, then maybe it will show up for you. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. Go ahead, Pam.
I think I'm going to go ahead and do a go to the gift maker and make myself a urine thong review. I think that's a great idea, Alan.
Yeah.
also, this is by no means no different than making your own video. I didn't see anything.
Well, Michael, there's one difference, and I'm at least I hope there's one difference. If there isn't, I'm going to be really pissed.
What's the difference?
The one difference is that Auto Awesome Movies is available to roughly 4% of everybody, and this sounds like it's actually rolling out worldwide.
Okay, so I'm gonna
I think
share my screen one more time here, real quick. And if you see here my recent albums, I have auto backup from December 7. They put the snow on a photo, and it also says auto backup, right? December 7. So that was a special thing they created, and so they're doing that quite often. When I upload a batch of photos, there'll be the main event or whatever you call it where all the photos are, and then they'll create separately what they call an auto backup, and then they'll create the auto awesome
so
images.
So the auto awesomes will go in there. It might be that you're just going to have a bunch of collections of your auto awesomed photos, which will be interesting.
What I was saying before was that the video it's making is no different than if you created a video on that 4% of devices and just pick different photos throughout the years. I mean, that would be your own year in review.
Sure, and you can certainly do it, except you've got to suffer through
That's not that bad.
the movie maker. And I'm willing to bet the movie maker would bomb out trying to load an even tiny fraction of those.
No.
Michael, it doesn't even show. When I go into my my auto backup folder that has a couple of hundred pictures, it shows me 5. Never mind if I actually try to look at the 1,000 or so.
No, what you do is
I've done over the year.
You pick out the ones you want, and then you just move those to a folder, and now you got all of them, the ones you want to use.
Right, and it won't load them from the folder.
You got to put it to the device. We already had the conversation.
Yes, we had this conversation. At any rate, if this actually does it, I am hopeful that means that Auto Awesome Movie is coming to the web, and that will be awesome.
We all wish that, but we'll see.
Now, what do you mean when you say Auto Awesome Movie coming to the web? What do you mean by that?
I mean that currently, Auto Awesome Movie was rolled out 2 months ago? I want to say it was late October, early November.
Yeah.
But it only runs on a select number of Android devices. And for those that it runs on, it's actually pretty cool. The problem is trying to convince it to actually build these movies for you. If you have select pictures that you want, it can be a royal pain. Having it so that you could just do it from the web, be able to pick 10, 15, 20 photos and videos, dump them into a folder, and say, turn this into a movie, and have it turn it into a movie of any length with background music that it recommends for you, that would and do it on the web instead of requiring a device, that will be pretty awesome. And then let you do the basic tweaking and editing that Auto Awesome Movie lets you do. That will just be killer.
That would be great.
Because Auto Awesome Movie is really cool. I mean, it really does make making quick movies that quick. The problem is trying to do it. If the photos happen to be there, it works well. If you're trying to coerce it into using specific photos, it's easier to walk to your nearest Apple store and get.
It's easier to get this show to start on time.
Yeah.
I'll give you an analogy.
Wow.
I mean, to be honest, the application, Auto Awesome Movie, when it works,
that is
it
what
works
we call
really well.
not easy. Just
Not at all. In case you were unclear on that,
No, that's
meant
not easy.
Not easy at all.
Okay.
So since we've started delving into
and to get Dan to pay attention to what's going on.
I'm trying to read this thing, but I think I'm going to hand it to Alan. I think Alan put most of these topics in because he hates my topics. So
nobody else put any.
It's probably
topics
something
in.
about Duck Dynasty he's trying to
Dan,
read.
it was an empty document when I was there today.
It was. Yeah, I'm a zombie because we do the paper Thursday, right? So like Friday, every other Friday, I'm kind of a zombie.
So yeah, the way you can tell that I put the topics in is that they're actually talking about Google Plus and Google.
And there are no links.
Whereas
Right.
if you put the topics in, we would be talking about Duck Dynasty.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've got that clear, let's go on to the next topic.
Okay, next up is how'd you phrase it? I'm looking at Jaana's article here. Are events changing? If so, for the better?
Are events changing, and are they changing for the better?
So they are changing.
They are changing. And
That's clear.
They've changed back, though, so we're not sure what's going on.
Oh, they have? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yesterday, so what a bunch of people discovered yesterday and the day before is that events, which rolled out, as we remember, year and a half ago at I/O 12, rolled out clearly half-baked, if that. There were major UI and user experience problems. They had some not too bad underlying concepts behind them, but really it was just a major departure from the rest of the way Google Plus worked. And over time, they addressed just about none of these issues until this week. Until this week, when they actually started to make some changes, and not necessarily for the better.
It made it worse. Okay.
In some ways, it made it worse. So one of the most noticeable change that they made was that instead of what was a single thread of comments, so each event essentially was a single thread of comments. You could post a comment, but that was it. There were no... You weren't so much making a post and then commenting on the post. It was just a bunch of comments as if the event itself was a post. There was no obvious way to reply to somebody else. There was a lot of things kind of jumbled together. So instead of doing that, they looked like they started switching to the model that they were using for Blogger and for YouTube, and that's that every comment is a Google Plus post. Why they couldn't stick to same terms, nobody knows. And in doing this, they made it multi-column. They really started making events look like most other things in Google Plus, which was good. The problem is that this suddenly broke things like Comment Tracker, that a lot of people use, including us, I would point out. We are still taking your comments, people. You can talk. That a lot of people use to incorporate comments and discussion from outside a Hangout on Air and bring it into a Hangout. And a lot of Hangouts are built around events these days. So here they took what publicly seems to be one of the biggest uses for events, and that's Hangouts on Air and their comments attached to them, and gutted one of the major features attached to it, with no obvious way to fix the problem.
Because now you can really no longer so much as a host, you can no longer, or a producer, you can no longer moderate exactly the comments that are coming in, because they can be tied to, every comment can become a separate post inside the event. Right.
Every comment was a post, just in the same way that on
comment is a
YouTube.
post.
every comment is a post.
Right, and then you can reply to a specific comment, and that becomes sort of threaded that way, but then those are multiple threads, and which one does the producer pick up to bring into the on-air event,
right,
or on-air show?
And how do they do that? And in discussions, there were actually some pretty good solutions at the time. The best one that we came up with, actually, was to make a couple of comments, either the host or the producer or whatever, and then lock comments. And this way, people would then reply to those comments, or those posts. Those posts would be the ones that are brought in, and the comments for all of them would also come in. This would be useful because you can now do things like create a post for a particular topic. And
I
each
see.
topic now has its own clearly delineated set of
So the
replies
producer then
attached to
could
it.
control the threads, the topics of threads that might be commented on during a show. Oh, I didn't catch that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that was something that that Gerwin and Ronnie and Jaana cooked up.
I've been trying to follow what Ronnie was saying about it, but I didn't see that. That's good.
Ronnie's biggest complaint, and from his perspective, it's a legitimate complaint, is that they essentially there's no way to automatically pick up on new posts. And Ronnie and Gerwin were the two big advocates to say, look, if you're going to do this to us, if you're going to change events this way, you need to give us the rest of the tools to let us use the events the way we've been using them. You can't give us this new tool, which is fine, and then cut us off at the knees.
Mm-hmm.
And they came up with this workaround, which works reasonably well. And actually in some ways works better, but it's still not quite there. The whole thing is still not quite there.
So what's the current status of this, Alan? Is this...
The current status is that apparently this morning it all vanished, like it never happened. All of the posts that people made vanished. The old comment, the old method for posting in an event came back. Google never made any statement one way or the other about it.
Wow.
So it's a feature that never existed.
I never even got to see it.
Well, I saw only screen captures of it because Ronnie had posted them.
Yeah.
But I never saw it in person. I was going to try it this weekend, but apparently I'm not.
Yeah. The only way you can see it now are from the screen captures from the time, because all of the posts reverted back.
I know there was a post that Ronnie shared, which was, I think, highlighting you can describe it better, Alan, the thing that Gerwin put in to fix something so that Hangout, the comment tracker, would work.
Basically, one of the workarounds that we had to get comment tracker working with events is to use a hashtag on the event. And that helps us find the event, and from there we can pull in new posts. We've got that helps us, and that wasn't going to work anymore. So we were, so they were scrambling, trying to find new solutions and find a programmatic way to pull these things into Comment Tracker, because Comment Tracker is one of the mainstays of Hangouts on Air.
Absolutely.
We use it extensively. In fact, we will once again quote Captain Euro, where he talks about how he doesn't like the new YouTube comment system still, because when he clicks on a video, there's a lag before the comments appear. I think they're go ahead, Pam.
The comment tracker is broken for me. I mean, you put all the links into your comment tracker, and I got none.
Are you in comment
tracker? I had to go do. I am now.
Are you in Comment Tracker or Hangout Toolbox's Comment Tracker?
Comment Tracker wouldn't open for me. I had to use the toolbox.
Alan, real quick, back to that comment by the viewer of the comments on YouTube.
Oh, no.
One thing that I've noticed is when I click on a comment to reply, I get the email notification, right, that I have a comment, and there's a link right in there to click on to reply, and it takes you to the YouTube video, and it takes you to that spot where you would reply. And what I've noticed is if I stop the video from playing I immediately hit the stop button and stop the video from playing. Then the comments load in right away, and I'm able to reply right away. But if I let the video keep playing, then sometimes they don't load in. I mean, you can wait and wait and wait, and it'll just sit there like it's trying to load or whatever. And so just food for thought for those that want to do a quick reply. Just hit that stop button, stop the video from playing, and then it should load in. And then the last comment I'll make on it, there are some that are called linked comments, right? That even though in the email it's got the button to click on to reply, and ostensibly you would think I'm going to click on that and I'm going to be able to reply, it'll take you to the comment under the video and there's no way to reply to it. So that's kind of broken. So if they would fix that thing, actually if they'd fix those two things, that'd be nice. But the one thing I can fix myself just by stopping the video from playing, right? But the other one, there's no way I can fix that because I just can't reply to that comment.
I don't know. I haven't seen either of those, but I'm not discounting what you're saying. To be honest, actually, YouTube as a whole stopped working on my Mac for some reason today. So I don't know.
But this has been ongoing since they changed over to the new comment system. This has been the situation. And like I say, I can reply to most of the comments by stopping the video from playing, no problem. But the linked comments, which is a small percentage of them, maybe 10% or something, those I can't reply to at all. And using that link at least.
Not only that, but there have been a lot of complaints about YouTube this week. I think there might be something going on there.
Maybe that's why we're not getting any comments tonight, like normal.
No, we're getting some comments. We have gotten more comments than just Captain Euros.
He wants to learn jive. He's obviously a fan of the airplane movies.
But, you know, I wasn't entirely sure that John's comment about us playing drinking games on the air was you know, entirely relevant.
Not that it's inaccurate.
No, not at all.
During the commercial breaks, we pass it around. We're all actually in the same room. It's a big scam. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to mention about the comments is Craig is a big fan of really engaging when you post a video. And he said this before, that basically anytime someone comments on his videos, he'll respond. It could be like, I agree, or it could be a troll response if they're an idiot, or, you know, whatever. And he's seeing his engagement result in more traffic and thus more revenue. So he now is, you know, really a fanatic about that. And now, of course, Google Plus and YouTube are much more integrated. So a YouTube comment is a Google Plus comment and vice versa to a degree. And so when someone, like if I share my video, or if someone else does, and there's a comment, and then they're arguing back and forth, then that, I think, counts as more engagement on YouTube. And so it's just an interesting phenomenon to watch. And I've seen this with the video about the thing we're going to talk about later, where I shared it, and then all that traction showed up on YouTube, and the video's going crazy.
Yeah, my policy used to be, I used to delete comments that were negative comments, for example, or not appropriate or whatever. I would routinely delete comments. Now I don't delete any comments, and I reply to all comments, even if they're inappropriate comments. And I've seen my revenue go up significantly. Again, I'm still not making that much money off YouTube. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that YouTube's the way to make money. But just as a way to measure,
it's enough to buy a nice camera every 6 months.
Yeah, it's pretty much more than doubled over the last, I'd say, 3 months. And that's really the main change I've made is A, not deleting comments, and B, replying to every comment.
All right. Okay, I guess we've exhausted the that topic. And Alan, I have no idea what this one's about. You put this one in, and there's no link, so I can't. I like it when he doesn't do a link. I don't even know what it is. Oh, you didn't put this in?
I don't know. I'm not looking at the.
Oh, it says Google Plus really wants you to be friends.
Oh yeah.
I like it when Alan's in a hurry because he posts topics. He doesn't put links in.
I can't put links in if I can't figure out what the hell he's talking about. So
no, I like it. I like it because then I don't have to read anything because I can blame Alan.
He doesn't have to pretend.
Right, I just have to say, gosh, I don't understand what he's talking about. Alan's off the deep end again, and I don't have to actually do any prep for that topic. I can just throw it to Alan. So let me throw it to Alan.
Because you do lots of prep on all of these topics, Dan, right?
Yeah, hours and hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Hair, nails, you know.
Right, this is why the show runs 4 hours, is so Dan can read up for the final topic of the night.
Absolutely.
So what this topic is about, however, is that previously when you encountered the hover card for somebody that you've never seen before, it would include a button that would let you add them to your circles. And I believe the button said something clever like add to circles.
Those Google people are great at naming things.
Yeah, now the button is labeled plus friends. And if you...
What?
And if you click on the button, it adds it to your friends circle. Unless, of course, it's a page.
That's ridiculous.
In which case it adds you to their following circle. Yes, it's absolutely ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
If you then want to change what circle they're in, you can hover over the button again, and the old pop-up will come up that lets you select a circle. But now, by default, it forces you to put this person, who you may not care about all that much, really, into your friends circle. So you obviously think this is ridiculous, Michael. Why don't you elaborate some more?
Well, this is the very first I've heard of this, so I haven't added anybody to my circles lately. But I'm appalled that they think they can force me into putting people that I never met before into my friends circle. Okay, I'm going to go on a rant. This is my turn to be out.
Do it, Michael. Do it. Let your inner Firstenberg out. Go.
I really hate it that people use this term friends so loosely that the word friends doesn't mean anything anymore. Friends are very special people, and they are not to be commonly referred to. Referring to that word should not be commonly used to refer to people that you've never interacted with, that you have no real relationship with. A friend is someone that's close to you because you share a history or share common interests deeply. Those are not things that should be treated lightly, and this notion that they just force me to add people to my circles called friends infuriates me.
Playing devil's advocate.
Oh, go ahead, because I'll love to attack this.
The definition of friends can no longer be defined by one person. Therefore, our times have changed.
Michael! Michael!
Who are you to say that is what a friend is nowadays? When nowadays a friend is totally different. Could be.
So Michael, you're essentially admitting to the fact that Google is doing this because Facebook uses the term.
I can't admit to nothing that Google does. I don't know.
Michael, I'm adding you to my BFF circle. I'm adding Michael to my BFF circle.
Wait, which Michael?
Both Michaels. Because I'm randomly filling it up. I want to get it up.
Just like the like button. Who is to say that like button does not mean I like it, but that I'm interested in knowing about other things that they put out? What does the like? But that means that like was before, but it's not how it is now.
I get it. I get that completely, but I object to people. I really object to people stealing words out of the English language that we can no longer use to mean what they mean.
But if
the word friend means something.
They understand that, and if they use something totally obscure like the freaking swirl button or scroll button, I don't know. But I mean, now they're not gonna know what the hell this button does. But they know friend, they know that one. Should they put associate?
And when Facebook was created, friends meant friends. But now, I mean, mostly it did. It was on college campuses, and you friended people you knew, people you actually knew. Now, this, from what Alan has described, makes anyone I add, the blue head from India that I add, why would I do that? But okay, let's say I do. I add the blue head from India.
Why is it always Indians?
Okay, it could be Pakistan. I don't know.
Near Near Eastern.
Never
And
Bangladesh. Always India.
Never
Zimbabwe.
Never New Zealand. Never New Zealand or anything like that.
Not to discriminate against Bangladeshi people.
What about
I didn't
Mexico?
mean that. I apologize. But I'm just infuriated that people want to degrade this word friend. It's a very important word in the English language, and we shouldn't just sweep it under the carpet and say anyone I happen to have brushed past and shared the same air with happens to be my friend.
I'm just saying that they all eat chicken curry, and if you're going to stereotype, you might as well spread the love. I've lived in India and Pakistan and Bangladesh, and they have like the best food ever. But one thing on the
topic,
on the like thing, one thing I noticed, this is a total tangent here, but Alan, I noticed this. If you go to a YouTube video and you like it, or you click the thumbs up, that counts as a +1.
That's a +1.
And vice versa. If someone posts Google Plus week or whatever video, and they click +1 on that post, and it could be, can you believe this racist rant from this crazy person, and they post the video on Google Plus, right? And you click +1 on that post, indicating you agree that that's a ridiculous racist rant. You are liking or thumbs upping on that video. So if you want to play this out, right? That's a whole thing. That wasn't announced.
So the moral of the story is post all your videos privately, and that way they won't do that.
And get no traffic.
No, if I post to my extended circles or whatever, I'm still going to get pluses and comments. So if you post something you don't want your followers to add likes to on YouTube, then you have to do a workaround. I mean, Google is creating a whole like workaround what do you call it?
Subculture.
Yeah, exactly. We all learn how to work around the crap that they keep pushing.
But you shouldn't have to. Most people would. Go ahead, Alan.
I have to disagree that this is a workaround.
Alan, disagree?
Yeah, shocking, I realize. Some of it's intentional. It's intentional that you don't necessarily post everything to public or to the widest audience. It was designed that way.
I post everything public, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off that in order to avoid Google making my followers pluses mean something other than what they meant them to mean and what I meant them to mean, that I have to do this workaround. It's just like looking at those stupid +1s. I can't even look at my all stream anymore because I have to see all those. So now I have to do a workaround for that. And so what's the next workaround?
Let me give a realistic...
I'm confused here. No, hang on. I'm confused here. What is the difference between a +1 and a thumbs up?
Oh, it's very different in this, Alan. Let me give you a real-time example.
Someone is +1ing my post, not necessarily the video. So that means if I post anything controversial...
No, it was never... No. The +1, the thumbs up is always attached to the comment, not to the video.
No,
Alan, hang on.
Right.
Let me draw. Let's say Pam goes to Germany on a trip with Michael to learn German or whatever. And they go to Munich and they visit the Hofbrauhaus, a big beer hall about the size of a football field. And while they're there, they discover that Hitler gave a speech or several speeches during the Munich push at the Hofbrauhaus. Let's say that Pam finds, she's curious because she was there and it's historic and shocking and like, oh my God, I was in the same room with Adolf Hitler. And then, I've been through this. I've been there.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And then she posts a video on YouTube saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I was in the same room as the leader of the Nazi Party. This is Hitler giving a speech in the Hofbrauhaus in Munich. Oh my God, I need a shower." And someone +1s her post on Google Plus.
Doesn't mean they love the video.
But that is a thumbs up. Now, if someone finds that video of Adolf Hitler giving a speech saying the speech was called "Why I Must Be Anti-Semitic," then her name is associated with a thumbs up on that video.
I get what you're going here. Okay.
When that's totally out of context. Okay. That's totally out of context. That's not what she was saying.
Going back to one of the things, why is Google Plus, or in making it more general, why is social networks using these words and these actions to change the way society normally looks at things? That's just what the internet really is. It's almost like a second world or a second life.
Yeah, but Michael, I disagree with you, because you just essentially turned around what the concept of circles was supposed to be.
It's not my concept. And that's what they've always said about Google Plus, is nothing is solid. Everything evolves at one point or another to something it may not have started to be. Hangouts being a perfect example.
Yeah, but at the same time, they also said that circles were modeling our relationship. You know, we're meant to model how we deal with things in real life. And at the same time, they have demonstrated over and over that they do not understand circles themselves.
Like I said from the beginning, things evolve from a platform standpoint depending on how people use it. They may say, hey, people are using circles or circling people for this reason. Maybe we should change it to this. I don't know.
Well, but they're not even listening to that. They have demonstrated over and over that they do not understand the fundamental concepts of circles and how people use them. They don't. They seem to think that every circle means that you like a person. And that's totally wrong!
I think they mean every circle associates you or links you in some way to a person. Well, it doesn't mean you have
No!
I mean, that's not how they behave.
Michael, that's the problem is, yes, that's what it means, but that's not how they're treating it.
As I say, I sure as hell don't put people in a circle that I don't want to associate with.
Well, it's like, but as a journalist, sometimes I'll follow someone who just is controversial at the time. I might follow someone on Twitter.
Even if you disagree with them, generally, you're still interested in what they have to say.
Or I might be covering a story. You know, let's say I was a news. I'm a journalist, right? So let's say I was covering.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's say some crazy person's in the news. I might follow their Twitter account just to see what crazy thing they say next, so I can write about it. That doesn't mean that's not an endorsement.
Right, I've got circles that don't show up in my all stream that I'll never look at, and they're there because they're send-only circles.
And also, plus ones have never guaranteed an endorsement any more than a retweet does. You'll see journalists who, when a politician on either side says something noteworthy, they might retweet that. And that's why in their Twitter thing, they'll say a retweet is not necessarily an endorsement. Same thing with a plus one. Some guy might say, Dan, you know, I might be arguing with some guy back and forth, and then he says, Dan, you just basically suck. Your shows suck. You're an a-hole, whatever. And I might just sign off and plus one, like
you put them in the truthful circle.
Right. I've read the comment. I'm moving on. That's not an endorsement of what he said. It's just acknowledging that I've been there and seen it. I hear you. But now plus one is a thumbs up on YouTube.
Well, hang on a second. Okay, if we're going to skip back to that topic, what makes us think that a thumbs up means a thumbs up any more than a plus one means a plus one?
I think this is different from, okay, I acknowledge you. The opposite.
It's more.
It's not just that it's I'm talking about the common usage. Now, maybe I'm different because I'm a journalist and I use it in a different way. But sometimes, like you'll say, Dan, I'm going to be late tonight for the show. And I'll plus one that comment, simply acknowledging, okay, I'm aware of that now. I'm not happy that you're going to be late.
There was a post back in the early days of Google Plus that basically said, what does a plus one mean? In fact, I think this might have even been in the Google Plus help. And it said, what does a plus one mean? And the answer is this long list of stuff that boiled down to, it could mean that you agree, it could mean that you're acknowledging, it could mean that you're endorsing. It can mean a whole bunch of things. And I think in the same way, a thumbs up could mean a whole bunch of things.
I think the thumbs up...
This is where I actually agree with Michael Banks.
Well, I think that the thumbs up, as made famous by Siskel and Ebert, is an endorsement, and the thumbs down is the opposite. And that if I post a video of Hitler, or if Pam or Michael does, and
yet
we're condemning him, and
Facebook,
someone is +1ing my post condemning Hitler, and that shows up as a thumbs up on a Hitler video, then I think that is a problem.
And yet Facebook uses its thumbs up to mean the exact same thing that a +1 means.
It says like, though, doesn't it? Or is there a thumbs up on Facebook?
And what I'm saying, Dan, is who
like.
is discerning what a thumbs up is?
I think the word
Or the
like
action.
and the thumbs up is different from a +1.
No. Like and thumbs up means almost exactly the same thing on Facebook as a +1 does on Google+.
Not in my usage.
It doesn't necessarily mean
yeah, Dan, I think your usage is not the same.
Okay, it could be the same. Like someone could put a funeral announcement, and then I'll go to Sheila. Someone could put a funeral announcement, my relative died, and I could hit the like button saying, like, I feel your pain. Not necessarily I'm happy that the person died. So
you acknowledge.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheila.
At that point, though, is what else can you do? That's the only option. Unless you just make a comment.
Yeah, this one, like you're saying thumbs up on a YouTube video, it shows up as a +1 on G+.
Right. Of the three, the thumbs up on YouTube and the like on Facebook and the +1 on Google+, I would say probably the thumbs up on YouTube is the most commonly associated with an endorsement, more so than the like button or the +1 button.
Let me put out a different YouTube hypothetical. What if somebody posted a video on YouTube saying, it has been my pleasure to have lived here in this great city with all of you, but I can no longer do so, and I'm going to be moving away to the middle of the desert in Africa. Do you think that people are going to give that a thumbs down or a thumbs up?
Or none.
Well, will that person's friends, this is aimed at you, Dan, will that person's friends give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I swear to God, I'm going to be honest here. I was reading the comments and totally ignoring you. Say it again, please.
If I posted, the hypothetical that I posted was, if I announced, let's say I made a video then announcing that I was going to be leaving Google Plus Week, because although you guys are all great guys, I'm feel forced to leave, that I can't take it anymore. I'm going to be moving on to pursue other greater things, working for a different network. Would you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I would definitely not hit the thumbs up or down.
I'd go down.
I would be distraught, and I would hit the +1 button on your Google Plus post to acknowledge that I've.
See, I disagree. I think
it depends where you saw it.
I think people would hit the thumbs up as a measure of support for me,
or to be happy that you're leaving.
Or that I'm, they're thrilled that I'm no longer going to be here on Friday night. Anyway, I'm not sure this is really, I do get the point, but I'm not sure it's really relevant to the topic, which I've already forgotten. Oh yes, the topic was Google wants you to be friends.
Yeah.
We have this great, speaking of the relationship between friends and like and so forth, we have this comment from Peter: how to make friends on Google Plus? Just like it. And I think that really drives home the point that this button says friends because they're stealing it directly from Facebook, because they think people are too stupid to understand the difference.
Michael Daniels can't. He can't +1 because he's
might
terrible at
seem
math.
that they are.
I like that.
Do you think they're making the transition from just changing the naming concept, that way people understand what the action is better?
No, I think they don't understand circles, and they're trying to screw up the system.
Wouldn't you agree that circles is a hard concept for people to get their minds around?
I meant Google not understanding circles.
I'm talking about the end user.
I think the end user understands it far better than we give them credit for.
People see Google Plus as a geeky thing where normal people don't use. So, I mean, wouldn't this transition make it simpler for other people to understand?
No, circles are a fairly easy concept.
Then why are people complaining about Google Plus is too technical?
It's not because of the circles.
There's a good question, a good comment. Michael Daniels asks, "Is there any significance to the plus?" I think you have to go to the origins. While in the media, this was portrayed as, Google's trying to do a Facebook killer, when Google actually announced it, they described it as a social layer to combine everything, and then they started using the term to upgrade to Google Plus. Like there's the free service and then it's a premium one, and they're both free. But the idea is that's what the origin is. They wanted to say it's Google, but it's Google Plus social activity. I think is
and I think the most clear place where we saw that was in Search Plus Your World.
Right.
Which that got a huge amount of flack itself.
Yeah, but it's still there and people like it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's very helpful. I found that, yeah, when they know if we've talked about this a million times. I don't want to get into it, but if I'm looking for a camera, doing research, and I see a post from one of you guys, then I know you're not trying to sell me something. It's an honest post, and I value that information above, something that might come from someone who's being endorsed by a certain company to say certain things. So I find those very relevant because you're my friends, especially Michael Ellis. So there.
I tried to make the point that it's not that you have to have met the people, it's that you have to have built to establish some connection to them, to have related to them.
And that button is
people on Facebook. No, it is not. I'm sorry, but I see young people that go on to Facebook that meet each other one time in a bar, and they say, friend me on Facebook, and that's how they stay connected. But they're not friends. I just object to the word.
I mean, it's more of that's like exchanging a business card. That's your endpoint. That's your networking medium. That's how it's done.
Okay.
It doesn't matter so much what the term. It doesn't matter what term the social network uses. What matters is the implementation. How people use it.
Time has changed. I got a friends. Well, I'll just friend any person that I've met in person or like have a conversation with. I'll friend them on Facebook. But I have this close friends little notification area where I want to be notified every time.
Michael, you friend them on Facebook because that's the only term you can use there.
You didn't choose the term.
I'm saying not the term. I'm saying the connection, that endpoint, that association from one person to another. Whereas it be friend circle, whatever. I do that not because I like the person or want to be their friend or want them in my inner circle, but is that I met them. It's like a business card exchange.
What was that term you used? Your inner.
I don't do it for an inner circle.
Inner circle, that's the word. Inner circle. That's a clever term.
That's a metaphor, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an old school metaphor. I wonder why circle's been coming back, but I don't know. But I think that friend element that I don't want to say old folks, but people have understood in the past is drastically changed nowadays.
Well, but here's my concern, is we've gotten to this concept that we're friending our parents. We're friending the friends of our parents.
Yeah.
I think the term itself is a stupid term, and I rather like the fact that Google tried to differentiate the fact that we may have family that are not our friends, and we're going to treat them differently.
Google does some awesome things. Sometimes it is like too far ahead for the normal person to understand and conceive. But I don't know. I get it. A lot of people don't though.
Well, but here's the kicker though, is that pages, you can't friend a page. You can only follow a page.
Which makes sense to me, but a person, I'm like, what's the difference between a circle and a follow?
Well, that's actually a really good question, is that there is a difference between a friend and a follow.
See? Oh, another friend? Okay, yeah.
Facebook has a difference. I have subscribers and I have friends.
Well, I think this is a place where Facebook actually screwed it up. Is that in order to follow a page, you have to like the page. And I think that's stupid.
Yeah,
that's a nonsensical that's a nonsensical term.
But again, that's their term.
Yeah, that's their term, and I think it's a nonsensical term. And I'm glad that Google did not try to say all you need to do is plus a page.
Yeah.
Plussing a page is different than following than adding a page to your circles.
Yeah.
Well, if they do something that stupid, I won't be surprised. I'll be disappointed, but I won't be surprised.
Any further comments from my friends on the panel here?
You're not in my friend circle, Dan. I got to tell you that.
I'll just say it, when I add people to my circles, it does not default to friend. I have my choice.
I added all of you people to my notifications circle, which means that I see everything you post.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Michael.
Well,
because
so
I
sweet.
think, because as much as I enjoy your company, I think it's presumptuous for me to call you, to presume that you think of me as your friend when we've never met.
That's right. And if I'm in your notification circle, I would never, ever have known.
Michael, you probably shouldn't.
We have stalker. I think we have a stalker here.
That's it. I'm watching every move, you guys.
So you get a
Just be
notification.
careful.
You get a notification of all of Pam Adger's posts on Thursday.
No, because Google interprets the fact that I put her in my notification circle, and they no longer give me everything that Pam gives me.
So, okay, Pam posts 500 things a day. Are you sure you want all of them?
Yeah, I know, it's true. But that's really true. It used to be that you could mark a circle and say, I want a notification for everything that posts, which is what I wanted it for. But it doesn't do that anymore. Now it's most things, according to some algorithm that I have no influence over.
Only up to
rat bastards, Google.
You have to have less than 25, I think, in the circle in order to continue to get notifications of every post.
Yeah, and you have to make sure that bell is turned on.
Oh. Because you mean they want you to have a way of actually noticing your real friends?
No, because you'll tap out the server.
Yeah, you can't subscribe to more than 25 people, so you have to create multiple circles if you want to subscribe to more.
Imagine having 25 Pams and like it's hitting the server every freaking second.
Oh my goodness!
Why is that my problem?
Sure, but here's the problem though. If I have a family circle with my large extended family of 30 people, and they're
25 is nothing,
and they're only posting, one person from that circle is posting maybe once a day, I want the notification to know when they actually say something.
Exactly.
But
because otherwise you'll never see it.
To be fair, now they're not talking, but one day, next week, maybe all of them are freaking ravaging about this crazy thing that happened, and all of them are pinging us. Now Google Plus goes down.
Oh, if Google Plus goes down from my 30 friends sending notifications,
but that's there's hundreds of millions.
You want to know the problem is that I get a freaking notification when somebody goes through my album and plus ones every freaking picture. You want to fix notifications? Fix that!
Grr. Or
I'm gonna say exactly.
My favorite.
That's what they call plus loving.
That's not what they call it, but we'll go with that, Sheila.
We're toning it down for Sheila.
Wow, Google Plus bleeped out all of Alan's rant for me. I didn't hear a thing. I could see. I saw a frozen image.
They're censoring me. See, they didn't let my notification go through. They didn't let my notification go through even in a Hangout on Air. They're getting really good at this.
All right, so we're done with our friends
doing
topic.
it in Hangouts now.
Yeah, I think we're done. Let's move on.
Okay, so next up is Pinterest.
Yes.
You can now log in, Alan, with Google Plus.
I didn't even try this yet, but
Really?
I've seen the pictures. Yes, really, Sheila. You can now attach your Pinterest account, either a new Pinterest account or one that you already have, attach it to Google Plus. I have no idea what this gives you, but I assume it must give you something, or they wouldn't have done it.
Well, maybe I'll be able to pin my Google Plus photos.
That would be interesting.
That would be nice if I could.
Or if the stuff that you've pinned on Pinterest will get shared to Google Plus somehow, that would also be interesting.
That would be awesome too.
Why don't you go test that? Report back.
I mean, like I said last week, I mean,
I'll just go wash the gray out of my hair.
It's a neat way to spread Google Plus's foothold on the internet. I mean, having a Google Plus connection, yes, probably gives some more users, gives them an easier way to log in, Give them another connection, more metrics, more users. Why wouldn't you?
Well, you'd be surprised at how many people don't want to because they've already tied themselves very deeply to Facebook and don't want a second one.
I would rather, if I had my choice, I would rather connect with my Gmail G+ profile anyway because it's tied to my email address.
Right, and I think that's kind of what Google is banking on. And I think that's what a lot of other places are suddenly beginning to realize is, hey, here are all of these people with YouTube accounts and Gmail accounts, and that's a hell of a lot of people. We might as well give them the easy way to get on.
Besides, you can pin right from YouTube, so it's like, why not have it associated with the G+?
I think Google Plus or Google in general is going for that long term to become an identification platform that has your verified identification on the internet.
Well, I think that's pretty obvious, particularly since that's what Eric Schmidt said, back on month number 2, is that Google Plus was an identification service.
I don't think it's there yet, but it can be.
And I think it's no surprise that they're aiming that way, and I think it's a good thing.
It's about fucking time.
Elaborate on that one, Dan.
Yeah.
About time that everyone else is finally waking up to the fact that Google as an identification service isn't a bad thing?
I mean, Google, yeah, it floors me that I can sign into things with my freaking Twitter account and my Facebook account and my, Skype account and my, what's that stupid photo social thing?
Flickr?
Instagram account and all this stuff and there's like no Google Plus button. What the hell?
It's something strange, Pam. It takes away from the raw anger you project when you're wearing the Santa hat. It diminishes the fear I would ordinarily hold when you wear the Santa. I'm just saying.
I can be impressive when I'm pissed.
So you're against logins? I'm not sure what you're saying.
No, I think it's about time that these websites start to realize that Google Plus has a dog in the fight, and it's stupid that there are literally some sites that I can go to where in order to choose who I want to log in with, I have to click another window. And it's just like filled with all these like icons that I don't even know what they are. It's like, what is this? This little icon with an elephant or,
The elephant is Evernote.
Yeah.
Just for reference.
I don't even know what that is. But there's no Google Plus. It's like, I could sign on with everything but that. It's ridiculous.
Go ahead, Michael.
I think if Google Plus becomes more and more popular, people will probably go with Google Plus because that way they can get more information from you, because most people, I would think, tend to put more information, or there is more information to get from you from your Google account than your Twitter account, for example. Because Twitter, there's only so many things associated to your account, whereas with Google, you can pull way more things from your ID from that portion. I would think a lot of people would use Google Plus now on.
That's an excellent point, and from a developer's perspective, and from a GTE perspective for Google Plus,
get them all.
It's clear that the Google Plus developer relations team has been pushing really hard on exactly that point, Michael. That you're by offering Google Plus sign in with Google, which is really sign in with Google Plus, you as a service provider can get so much more than anything else. Yes, you get the social. You're getting their profile information that they provided to Google.
And you're getting verification,
You're getting
Alan.
Android connections. You're getting iOS connections.
Gmail.
You're getting a lot.
One of the key things here, because Craig Shipp has the Area Guides Network, and I'm involved in that. We have a couple of sites as well, but he was looking at different sign-in options, and he wants Facebook. He tried Twitter, but there's too many spam accounts that are easily made on Twitter. So the things that you've criticized in the past about their really anal policy on Google Plus about forcing identification verification are a big plus when you're considering
I'm sorry,
a
Dan,
website.
I need to cut you off there. I have never criticized their need for identification verification. What I've criticized is their utterly idiotic naming policy. There's the difference.
Oh, no. You can't have a strict naming policy and have ID verification at the same time.
Sure you can.
Do you have a human poster?
Yes, you can. Michael!
No,
yes, you can!
No,
can! Yes, you absolutely can!
You
Oh my
cannot
God.
tell me that you can go up to a bank and give them a freaking username and say, I want to open an account under this username.
You used to be able to, yes. Why?
Like I said, used to. Things have changed.
Well, things have only changed because we've got this... The problem is, though, okay, if you want to use the bank analogy, no, you can go up to a bank and say, this is the name I want to use on the account. And they'll say, give me your social security number.
I mean,
They don't care what your name is.
in
They
Switzerland
totally
in the 80s.
don't care what your name is.
But
They care
Alan,
what your social security number is.
my point is, if you're
No,
thinking,
they don't, Michael.
They do because they got to report it to the government.
No, they have to report your SSN to the government. They don't care about your name.
Your
Alan.
SSN is that name.
Okay, so your name is your SSN. If that's the point you're trying to make, I'm still right.
that's your identity in one respect. What are you eating, Michael Michael Ellis? What are you eating? Cookies?
Pumpkin bread.
Oh my God!
Oh, wow.
Somebody gave me a little loaf of pumpkin bread today at my customer.
We should do a Fast Times at Ridgemont High in our contract, Alan, to require that they provide all of us with a sample if they're going to eat something so delicious on the air. Okay, so my point was, Alan, that not to get into the weeds on the pseudonym topic, which you having been kicked off of Google Plus, even though you're a huge asset and a fan, have a right to be concerned about, as do a lot of folks who have a commonly used nickname or pseudonym and were unable to use it initially on Google Plus. The point is that if you're doing a website, your goal is to make it as easy as possible for people to log in to prevent spammers, just random comments and troll-filled, hate-filled comments, and spam. You want to make it as easy as possible for legitimate people to log in. And when you're choosing among the service providers who offer some sort of login option, Twitter is pretty easy to set up a fake account in. Google Plus and Facebook are probably two of the hardest to set up and maintain without getting busted if you're a spammer to set up and maintain. So I think that's good, and I think it's good for websites, because I remember I was first alerted to the Facebook commenting system for websites on TechCrunch when they switched from, I don't know if they were using Discuss or whatever they were using, and they switched to Facebook comments. And so it was kind of neat that they would have a TechCrunch post, and then they would, at the bottom, you could say comment, and if you were already logged into Facebook in another tab or another browser or whatever, or another window, then you were technically logged into TechCrunch automatically. And then you could type a comment. By default, although you could uncheck it, by default that comment would appear on Facebook as well. So if you said, like, yeah, I really agree with this review, but I think whatever, that would show up, and it would say Dan McDermott commented on TechCrunch's post about whatever product or feature or service. So they were getting more hits to TechCrunch because people who see me in their stream and my activity would realize that this article existed and that I'd commented on it, and they may comment on my below that, and I think that would show up on TechCrunch. It was kind of an integrated system, similar to the way Blogger does with Google Plus. So this is a good thing, and I do think that Google's quest to make sure that you're a legit person, you're not a spammer, is a big benefit to getting them ingratiated and accepted in more sites as a sign-in option. So I think Pinterest is just the beginning of what's going to be a flood over the next year and 18 months.
And we've clearly seen this. We've seen a lot of other sites adopting it. Mind you, though, I can tell you that I've seen several sites that are not adopting it because of Google's naming policy.
You
Can you
mean
elaborate
because
on that?
people are required to use their real names?
Yes. Sorry, because they're
what company would complain about that?
companies that care about anonymity.
Like,
I know a lot of companies and a lot of
public-
boards that care
what
about
public-
anonymity.
What public company?
Hang on a second. Let me dig through. Hang on. Let me dig through my business cards and find the company.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a forum that is currently trading these Target credit card things,
I'm sure 4chan
then
would like
yeah,
it.
I wouldn't want that.
Sure. I'll have you. Sure. If you're a forum that talks about medical issues, you don't want to use real names either. You want to use
In
pseudonyms.
a public capacity, sure.
Yes, in a public capacity.
I'm gonna grab a stink bug here just to.
And that's my
Please do.
point. Is that there
Here,
are
this is a perfect
situations.
shot here. This is a stink bug on one of my beautiful newspapers. Let me get it up here.
There it is.
Dan and the stink bugs.
There we go.
Those are not box elder bugs, Dan. They look similar.
It's the stink bug. The only thing better than one of my newspapers. This is the one. This is cool. About the local cheetahs and the local TV station cut down, and there's a stink bug on it. So there you go. And they're all over. I mean, just randomly flying in your face. It's really, the novelty wears off at some point. Let me tell you. Anyway, I apologize for interrupting this, whatever the hell topic we're talking about.
Jumping back to the sign-in thing again, another advantage of using the sign-in button is that it allows you to prompt for them to download their app. I mean, it comes as part of the.
There's like I said, there's a lot that
awesome.
people get when they get the Google Plus sign-in. You get the app integration. You even get iOS app integration, although not as much. You know, they're increasingly recognizing that you get a lot of benefit just by having a Google Plus sign-in. And to Google's credit, they have been pushing this now for, I guess, about a year is when they first started. Well, not quite. Probably more like 6 or 9 months that they've been pushing the concept of Google Plus sign-in as a useful, broad sign-in solution. And part of it is just it's dead simple to use. It really is simple to integrate with your own website right now.
You mean for a developer?
I mean for a developer. I mean for a website person. It is.
Yeah, that's a developer to me.
Well,
okay.
I'm not gonna quibble. I'm not gonna debate semantics on that front. Anybody who needs sign in on a website, Google Plus sign in is a very valid tool.
It's not that simple though. If you want to use the information usefully.
It's not that hard anymore. Hey Jody, long time no see.
Jody,
what's up, Jody?
Welcome.
Jody Raines, welcome.
It really is simple to integrate with your own website right now.
Whoops. I got to hear that whole thing.
Caller, turn down your radio.
A website person. That's a developer to me. Okay, so.
Caller, turn down
that
your
happened.
radio.
Little diversion to wake us up, to wake Ellis up. My best friend forever.
I'm awake. What are you talking about?
You're on a sugar high now, but we know you're
Tonight,
gonna be.
I'm really awake.
Yeah, after your muffin, you're going to be asleep in 45 minutes, and
Right.
don't think we won't do screen caps. We're merciless about that.
I know.
Okay, so are we good on the sign-in policy?
Yeah, sure.
Jody, say hi.
Hi.
There you go.
How's everybody doing?
Doing great.
Great.
Happy Almost Merry.
Happy almost Mary.
Almost
Yeah.
Merry.
Almost.
both.
It's almost.
It's almost Merry Eve,
Yes, exactly.
the eve of merriment.
Yeah. I got a puppy. I don't know if you saw my posts, but
Can we see the puppy? Come on.
yeah, let me go get her.
Can you
Hold on, I'll be right back.
produce the puppy?
Because we're only an hour, 20 minutes into the show, and we're running out of topics fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The puppy could be an hour diversion.
Oh, I think the Duck Dynasty topic could be something worthwhile.
Lord,
Okay,
I
so
hope
next
not.
up is we've done sign-in. While we wait to, this will be probably a quick topic. Daria Musk has
Has competition.
U2 has joined Google Plus. Alan, are you a big U2 fan?
No, but Vic Undotra apparently is, because he was raving about this.
I saw them. I used to work when I was in London. I had a summer job at the U.S. Embassy, and it was neat because the artists would come in because they had to get visas to come to the United States. So you'd see like the Police. This is in the 80s, right? And I remember it was funny because the British women who worked in the embassy would be like, "Oh my God, it's Sting and the Police are here in the freaking room." And so I went out and I was looking. It's like, I don't know who these people are. And then like 2 years later, I knew who they were because they were big in the U.S., right? And one time I was driving by in London and there was a photo shoot going on. It was U2. And they were at, I don't know if it was Piccadilly Circus or somewhere like that. And they were standing up getting their photos taken. And I had no idea who they were. And then
cool.
Joshua Tree happened. But it's always cool to see big acts like that, or I guess probably in this case, a PR firm employed by a big act like that to set up a Google Plus page. So,
yeah.
Just so do we have the dog?
Oh, look at that dog. Jody, you're muted.
Yeah, we won't see you unless you unmute. And we want.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We want the that's a puppy? Good Lord.
This is the puppy. This is Jewel.
Is it a
She's
Saint
Oh, it's a
Bernard?
German Shepherd.
She's a Malinois.
Her name is
What?
Jewel or Drool?
Jewel.
Okay. Either would probably be appropriate.
She's a Belgian Malinois, and she's out of show line, and she's a future champion.
How cute. She's frisky.
She's adorable.
Yeah, she's very frisky. And she's totally a handful and a half. The first week, every night, she cried all night long.
Oh my.
Now, she is...
Was she lonely?
What's that? Yeah, she was taken away from her mom.
Now, how old is she, and how big is she going to get?
She's 12 weeks old, and she'll be probably, I'm going to say like 65 pounds, maybe 60 pounds, and roughly 21, 23 inches tall, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are the characteristics of that breed, which I'm not familiar with?
The Malinois, they're used a lot for police work, for search and rescue. They're very similar to the German Shepherds. They're considered one of the Belgian Shepherds, and nice stink bug there.
Yeah, I just you missed it. Yeah, it's almost like she appears very lethargic, almost sloth-like.
Well,
you can barely hold her because she's so active. That's funny. What a cute little dog. It does look like a shepherd or something, like something that would be a good police dog.
Yeah, she's and I have another one. The other one, Ruger, is 2.5, and he's doing search and rescue now, and also doing obedience and agility. But they're very smart.
Do you train them?
Smartness to kick in.
Do you train them?
What's that?
Do you train them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's what we've been working on. But Ruger's a champion, and this one, the breeder told me that this is a pick of the litter, but she's very ornery, as you can tell.
She's beautiful.
An ornery little thing.
That's awesome. What a beautiful little dog, and what a handful. You're right.
She doesn't stop.
Not a pacifist.
No, she's but they're smart and they learn quickly, hopefully.
Where to poop and all that stuff.
Oh, please.
Is she trained already?
No, not even close.
Not yet.
No, she doesn't know anything yet. Like, other than squirming and eating and nipping and so she's just a baby.
Well,
I can show you the other one. Hey, Ruger, come here, bud. Come here. Here he comes. Come here, Roo. All right, wait. Let's see if I can get him up here. Come here, Roo.
It's an animal-friendly house.
What's that?
An animal-friendly house.
Oh my God.
With a nice cooking range in the background.
Oh yeah. Well, we're in the kitchen now. Usually I'm upstairs. Ruger, come up and say hi. Hop. Come up.
Come on, Ruger.
Okay. He might not do it with Jewel here. Come here, Roo. He's standing right here. Up.
Come on, Ruger.
Up. Come on, up. You hear? This is a way to interrupt
It's working
the show.
really well.
I know. If I put her down, he's just going to chase her around. But we'll get him up sooner or later. But anyway, yeah, he's
Aim the camera at them. We want to watch the rest of the show this way.
Is Ruger a U2 fan? Is the question.
Here. Come here. Up. Come on. Up. Up. Come on. Up. Up. Come on. I've got my hands full with this one.
So you train your dogs is a subjective term.
All right, wait. He's right
you have
here.
limited success. Oh, and now Ruger's big. Ruger's big.
Yeah. He's right there.
What's up, Ruger?
And the little one is trying to...
Do they get along?
Yeah, too well. Because he just wants to play, and he doesn't realize how big he is. And she wants to play with him, too, and then I get nervous, but...
Like, as in puppies are expected, or like they're tearing the house apart?
Oh, she's not ready. She's not even... I mean, she's 12 weeks old. She's just a baby herself. She has no clue. So, I mean, she's going to probably have to be, I'm going to say a year to a year and a half before that kicks in.
Papa may have a clue.
Oh.
What's that?
I said Papa there may have a clue.
Yeah, well, he's a boy. Boys are like that, you know?
All right, so we got our little dog fix. Now we've got Duck Dynasty and cute little puppies. If we someone could produce a kitten, we'd have all the things we need for a YouTube.
I have a kitten somewhere.
Sensation.
But but anyway, no, the whole Duck Dynasty thing. I apologize because I missed your conversation with Tech Webcast. They did a roundup, but that's crazy. Have you seen the Facebook page?
Yeah, let's hold off because we wanted to get.
Say we haven't started that yet.
Yeah, we're still just getting primed and ready to talk about that.
We're still actually talking about technology.
Yeah, Google Plus and technology.
Shockingly enough,
with inferences technology to keep our audience at bay on the edge of their seat, and a puppy thrown in to help them to retain audience during these tech topics before we get to Duck Dynasty.
Puppies and babies, right?
Absolutely, and kittens. So we need kittens, and then my mission is
They were
done.
golden.
Unless like James Earl Jones comes on and does the Darth Vader voice, then short of that, we're pretty much okay. All right, so are we good on the Daria Musk has competition because YouTube has joined Google Plus? Any larger meaning in this, Alan?
No.
And then I see puppies, the next topic, which we've covered. Okay, this topic I'm going to. It's a topic I probably cannot intro well because if I can't pronounce it correctly. Glass releases XE12. I assume that's correct, and I haven't typed the 1-2 for my controller accidentally there, including a new wink feature.
Right, I actually thought you were going to try to talk about the topic right above it, which is 2 1 3 1 2 3 2 3 2 3 1 2, which is Dan's control system.
Yeah, whenever I hit, like I'll show you here. I'm going to hit on me. That's 1. 2 is me and puppy dogs, and then 3 is just puppy dogs with the hot blonde, and then Alan, and then 8 is back to left screen share, and then you see 2 1 8 1 2 3 8. So every time I switch screens, I'm putting a key somewhere depending on what window I'm in. So that's what that's about. So anyway, I apologize for that. And Alan, if you could explain, maybe we need to get the foreign language hangout guy in here. But Glass releases XE12, including a new wink features Android Authority article. I think that's multiple sentences all conjoined.
The Android Authority article part indicates that the link is the Android Authority article, which you obviously haven't read. Yeah, basically, once a month, usually, the Glass team releases an upgrade to Glass, and this month's upgrade has come a little bit later than usual. Usually it's the first week, now we're halfway through. And this release is called XE12, the 12th release, basically. The most notable feature of this one that everyone is talking about is that they've added the ability to wink at glass, so the person wearing it winks, it can take a picture. This was a feature that was kind of kludgily demonstrated earlier by some hackers, and now it appears that Google is officially supporting it. And Jody, I saw you nodding your head no. What are your thoughts here?
What happens if you just blink?
You actually need to calibrate it, so it doesn't just react to a blink. It doesn't react to every casual facial tick. It requires a fairly obvious blink, a fairly obvious wink from what I've seen. It doesn't work on my hardware, so I haven't tested it yet myself.
Oh, okay. So you have to upgrade the hardware?
Yes, this only works on the latest release of hardware, which is known as Explorer Edition Charlie or Explorer Edition C.
Okay.
And I just haven't gotten around to upgrading upgrading my hardware yet. But the new hardware has been rolling out for a month and a half.
As a side
now.
note, Alan, are you paying each time you upgrade hardware or not?
No. In this case, they're giving all of the users of everyone who has the previous model XEB has been invited to upgrade to XEC if they wish.
At no charge.
At no charge.
Okay, because I was invited to participate in the Explorer program, but only to pay $1,500 for it. So
that's correct.
I heard it's $1,600.
I had to decline that invitation.
It is $1,500 plus tax.
Okay.
And the tax depends on your locality. So for New York and California, it's $1,600 and change. And I don't know what it is elsewhere.
Is Bloomberg going to go after a sales tax on the value of each subsequent model included in the deal?
Probably.
We want to talk about
probably
Michael
not. He's
Bloomberg,
almost
really?
done.
Michael Bloomberg is not going to be doing anything. He's out of office in about 4 days. 6 days.
Yeah.
8 days.
I hope he has a job to fall back on.
He's got something to fall back on.
Any other thoughts on that, Alan?
Well, I kind of wanted to get people's opinion on the fact that people are going to be able to just wink and take pictures or do other things now.
How did you take pictures of people before this?
Before
what
there
was
were two
the mechanism?
Before there were two ways. You could either say, "Okay, Glass, take a picture."
Okay, so then everyone around you could know.
Or there's a button on top, so you press the button.
Okay, which also would be
a lot better.
Visually a cue.
Correct. What was that, Jody?
I think we better too.
Yeah, winking is better. It's easier. You know. I'm kidding, kid.
But it's more surreptitious.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more covert. And for something that people are already talking about how it's a privacy-invading device, it's got some people uncomfortable. I'll be honest, it has me uncomfortable. Because for the longest time, I was talking about how it was obvious when you were taking a picture. To be honest, pressing the button's a lot easier than winking in most cases. And now it's not. And that bothers me.
Frankly, I would be a little concerned about people taking the wrong meaning from a wink.
Exactly.
Don't worry, lady. I'm just taking a picture of you.
I'm just trying to.
Wait a minute. That's not better.
I'm a big fan of these Belgian puppy dogs, and that's why I'm winking at Jody. Trust me when I say that. You know what I mean?
The help documentation does say to make sure your wink is not misconstrued.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not sure that really mollifies anybody.
There's actually documentation
exactly
that you should not misconstrue a wink.
Yes.
Wow, that's a whole thing.
You know how I feel about it.
Wait till
Alan.
Drudge Report gets a hold of this.
Why don't you spell it out for us, Pam?
I think it's crap that people can take your picture without your permission in the first place. I mean, I understand, it just makes me want to stay at home. I don't...
They can already do it.
I know, but it's bullshit. I don't want people taking my picture without my permission. I think it's an invasion of privacy. I don't want them using my image.
Have you ever visited a big box retail store or London?
Or a bank.
No. Yeah, but they're not going to go
used to
post it.
ATM.
They're not going to go post it on their fucking Facebook page. Or their Google Plus page or whatever, they have
a business reason for doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Security.
It's going to be it's the guy sleeping in the back, who might or might not see it. Yeah,
Alan, we got
much better.
Alan, we got to stretch this show out for the full 4 hours because Pam's going to be in rare form.
I'm so buzzed right now.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna need to go get another drink then.
I'm almost done with my second one, so yeah.
You're a cheap date though, Pam. I mean, just 2 drinks.
Yeah.
They're probably 2 strong ones.
Which is why I don't drink very often.
She has a regular Friday date.
Anyway, my daughter's at the door. I need to mute myself for just a second. But yeah, I'm not done yet.
Take care of your children. You can come in and rant in a minute.
Right.
No, and I think it's a legitimate issue about how people should behave themselves when it comes to using glass. It's been an issue that we've been talking about for months now, and it's one that we were almost getting to the point of saying, look, glass users can be respectful of others, and others will know when they're using glass. And here, Google just said, well, forget that.
We'll just have you wink.
We'll just, we'll let you do it more covertly.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, there are certainly legitimate uses for this technology. I think being able to let surgeons, for example, wink to take pictures, that's good. That's a good feature. Having surgeons wink to do other things with glass, possibly to advance to the next frame in a slide or something along those lines. There are legitimate uses. It just bothers me that at the same time it's introduced as part of a feature that people are going to object to. There is not widespread acceptance of this technology yet.
Do you think that the winking was part of the purchase of Flutter, or do you think that that they're evolving into having more of these what do you call it, like ticks or movements that are going to control what glass is able to do?
I mean, we've seen patents about it that are along those lines. Broadly speaking, I don't think so.
Me neither.
Why?
Because they're not very natural. I think a lot more.
It doesn't matter. They're hands-free. So if you can do like this, blink like 4 times and get it to do something,
I don't know. You look very natural doing that, Pam.
Get it to do something, one thing. There are occasions where, church, for example, that you wouldn't want to be going, okay, Google Glass, let's go to Pornhub, You know what I mean?
I think it's got to be more intuitive than that. It's got to be more subtle. But I think that there will be. It could only be like tightening a muscle or something.
Yeah, but then you have to be careful that something else doesn't cause you to tighten that same muscle, right? Like some.
And Pam knows all about tightening muscles.
Oh my God!
Where this was going.
Here we go.
Wait, Alan, were you winking when you said that?
What were you winking? Oh wait, don't answer that.
Oh my God! Not wanking. Not wanking. Winking.
Michael Ellis in our inside chat has already referred to this feature as Mr. Winky. So.
Can you say Kegel?
We're going further and further down the rabbit hole.
This is really bad. Wait, this is supposed to be Google Plus week. Did I tune into the wrong show?
No.
No.
No, but you might not have been drinking enough.
The wrong show. Yeah.
No, we've been attacked by Target hackers, and they've stolen our normal program. And oh my God!
So
I can just imagine like some your analogy about surgery. Some woman getting a mastectomy or something, or someone getting a prostate exam and the doctor's winking I could just, talk about awkward. Because they have a thing on their face anyway, right? They look like 7 of 9.
The patient's not going to be noticing, though. So, anyway, I mean, they're already... Anyway, but to answer Jody's question, I think a lot of the work that's going on these days about gesture recognition type stuff, I think right now that's really in its infancy. I mean, considering what... looking at something like the Leap Motion device, that's cool and it's neat, but honestly, it's so amazingly impractical that it's going to be a failure for many years to come. It won't be until they have enough work into it that they recognize the fact what certain what the gestures that we're naturally doing mean, that I think it will become practical and useful. Because if it's trying to process what I'm doing when I'm doing this, which I do a hell of a lot on this show, you're gonna get the wrong idea. But what you're doing right now, you're gesturing your dog to come up, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to come up.
Okay, those sorts of exactly. It's interpreting those gestures in context that I think is where the evolution of these kinds of controls are going, and I think that's a good thing. So I think Wink, it's gimmicky and silly, with a couple of minor applications. I think the long-term prospect of understanding how we're interacting in our physical environment and using that to do certain things, that's the big payoff. That's the long-term payoff.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these new features being followed by new legislation.
Well, that worries me a lot.
For example, your mayor, are you in New York City? You're not in New York City
No.
proper? No.
He lives in the good part of New York. Where you can drink large beverages. Obviously, Pam is a big fan of large beverages. If not winking, she is a fan of beverages.
Recently, the city council has decided to ban e-cigs inside. I think that goes into effect 120 days from now or something like that. But it's a relatively new thing. And it's a relative, there's a lot that we don't know about it yet. And they went ahead and they made...
and it's not regulated.
They went ahead and made these rules irregardless of any kind of scientific evidence or anything else. I mean, well, cigarettes, there's a boatload of evidence to say that secondhand smoke is bad.
They don't need evidence to make any kind of decisions.
But that's what I'm saying.
They're city council.
With the
What
glass.
the hell are you doing, Michael Ellis? What is that?
Looks like he's making a beer bomb.
Oh my God! What the hell, Michael Ellis? What is that?
I'm building a shower.
Oh my God! We're
building a shower caddy that just
we're the world's first portable program on Google Plus. You could just no matter what, if you're on the...
Hang on, it's 10:30 at night and it just arrived?
No, it was here when I got here tonight.
Okay.
I'm just opening it because this is a 4-hour-long show and I can't afford 4 hours. So
you're literally installing
at the same time.
You're installing a new shower curtain. This is the first time.
Not shower curtain, shower caddy.
Alan, if we had a nickel for every time someone redecorated their bathroom when watching this program.
You know what? Very rich.
Yeah,
but have exactly
one nickel. Kind of redecorating.
Next week I'll just do the show from the bathtub. That way I can get
there you go
done at the same time.
Oh my God!
And watch our ratings go up.
At least 2 things, Pam.
So I got to. Is Michael Banks still here? Michael, while we're off on a weird topic, while we're just trying to we're just delaying things to wait for Pam and Michael Ellis to get really fun. Is that a target there behind you, like from a shooting range, a human poster target?
He's had that there for months.
Yeah, we've already talked about it.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Do you watch this show, Dan?
I'm not a competent host. I play one on TV. Okay. All right. So anyway, are we good on the XC12?
No. To finish up on Pam's point about legislation, one of the things that I've been saying for a while about why they had not enabled Wink for so long, it boils down to they want to be able to sell this device in Germany someday, and there is no way in hell that Germany would allow them to essentially carry around recording devices that are not obvious recording devices. I mean, there's just no way that German legislation would deal with that right now.
Dan, are you showing us that you've got a stink bug in your glass?
Yep. They like Diet Right, apparently, but not too much. He's not racing to the top. What they tend to do is they tend to climb, like I have, like, it's a bunch of stuff here, but they climb up. They go in circles. I mean, you can watch them for hours. They'll start at the bottom. Like you're watching a Netflix, like I'm watching West Wing or Star Trek or whatever I'm watching, being a man with man topics. I'm not on Pinterest. And they'll just like climb in a circle, and you can watch them. It's kind of fascinating.
Wow.
Not to change the subject. Oh my God. You ever get that awkward feeling when you've completely lost control of your show?
The invasion of the stink bug.
Oh, I've conceded defeat.
Were they
conceded defeat years ago.
Oh, and now there's this thing. This is great marketing. Okay, so there's the USDA wants to introduce Asian wasps into the wild in the United States because they're a threat to stink bugs. And so I thought I saw this.
What does this have to do with Google Glass? And
this is related to the XC12
Nothing. This is what Dan has to do with this show.
Well, wait. It was on his glass. That's glass.
So I posted it, right? Yeah, it was on my glass. See, this is Google Glass. I'm the host of Google Plus Week. The head of Google Plus is on my show once a year.
We're officially on a new topic now, by the way.
So anyway, so I posted this thing like, you know.
Is there some whiskey in that Diet Right?
No, it's just straight Diet Right. But anyway, so I posted this and I said, you know, what could possibly go wrong? They want to introduce a new species of Asian wasp in the United States to combat these things. I was being tongue-in-cheek just to, you know, create some, you know, trolls for fun and to see what the comments were. And then it goes out to Twitter and there's this thing called the Bugzooka. And apparently it's an anti-stink bug thing. And they I guess they looked for any mention of stink bugs, and they just said, you know, that's a bad idea. You should just get everyone a Bugzooka. And I was just thinking, that's brilliant marketing to just troll people's posts like that. Because I'd never heard of the product before, and now here I'm curious about it, and here I'm mentioning it on a show. That'll get like 2,000 views.
Yeah, maybe sell one Bugzooka.
Everyone should have one.
Absolutely. I think
but with the stink bugs, I mean, they don't really harm anything, right? It's just you don't want to squish them because then they'll smell. But
you get used to that too. I mean, you literally concede defeat. There's no beating them. It'd be like trying to eliminate the housefly from a cookout. You just concede defeat. At first, you freak out and you're like, "Oh my God!" You know, the first ones that arrived because they only came in this country in the '90s, and then they've slowly infiltrated. Now they're in 40 states.
They're an invasive species themselves.
Yeah, and so now we're going to introduce Asian wasps, which just conjures up images of the most horrific possible.
No, I have to
Hitchcock
tell you,
movie.
every single time that they've introduced a new species to help combat some other species or whatever, it hasn't turned out well. So I cannot imagine this is going to turn out well. This is probably going to devastate some other useful species. Oh shit, we didn't realize this also devastates ladybugs, you know?
But I mean, what is the purpose of a stink bug? I mean, do they eat other insects?
Sorry, Jody, I just want to interrupt quickly that I've now researched the Bugzooka.
Cool.
They're called vacuum cleaners.
Good deal.
Except apparently you actually get to catch them and release them.
Oh, I'm not all about that. I'm definitely, you know, into extermination.
Humanely capture insect invaders for outdoor release. No unpleasant handling or squashing.
No, I have the same policy with my mice. I'm not into trapping them in something and driving 10 miles to release them, and as nature would have it. I'm like, snap, done, toast, later.
Snap.
Have a nice time in my trash can. Yeah, I have no mercy. So anyway.
So, but I would point out this answers Captain Euro's question of why don't you exterminate those bugs?
Oh, I mean, why don't you remove all the mosquitoes from your back lawn? I mean, it's easier said than done.
Some people do. Some people do. They use I don't know exactly what, but there is a company that's what they do, ostensibly.
So what was your question, Jody, regarding that I interrupted you on? I apologize. I think you asked something like why do we have stink bugs at all?
No, I don't know what the purpose. Maybe they brought them in from another country for some reason.
No, it wasn't intentional. It was an accidental invasion.
It's a lot of
was it?
Yeah, it was accidental.
Ellis
from where, Alan?
Ellis, you're kind of imposing like that. You're kind of looking down on us, casting a gaze.
Well, I do, That's the way it is.
Yeah, so I think it's largely a result of international trade. Isn't that how most of these things happen? They'll show up in a cargo ship or whatever. I know that Jason Salas is in Guam, and he's disputed this, but in their Wikipedia article, which of course is
obviously true,
unchallengeable research,
right?
That there are very few birds on the island because there's a snake population that invaded, and they were brought in on either a barge or a plane or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you send something from another country, and there's an ecosystem in that country, and then all of a sudden it's just like when we came here initially, a lot of Native Americans got sick from smallpox and things that we had built up an immunity to, where it was just you're going to be sick for a couple weeks, and to them it was a death sentence because they had no vaccine, no immunity built up. And so you get these species that come here, and they have no natural predators, and so they populate like crazy. It's also a problem with plant species.
What are we talking about again?
In national
Stink
parks.
bugs.
We're talking about the XE12 glass release.
No, we're talking about stink
Okay.
bugs. Yeah, I've actually added it as a topic now.
Oh, so it's official.
Yes,
So I
stink
haven't
bugs
strayed,
at target
I've just-
practice.
So this, instead of
to
straying,
answer-
I've innovated. Go ahead,
To
Alan.
answer Michael Ellis's question, according to Wikipedia, they were introduced likely from either China or Japan through shipping crates. The first one was captured in late 1998,
Interesting.
September 1998.
Remember the fish
Does
that crawled? What was that thing called?
That was called the fish that crawled.
No, the
I know
walking
what you
fish. Remember that? You're talking about snakefish, right? I guess someone smuggled it in as a pet, and then they put it in a lake or pond. And
Yeah.
the problem is they can walk, so they of course will propagate the nearby lake, and so on. And they found them in Maryland, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, whatever. And the response there was, they were trying, how do we deal with this? And so they published a recipe book on great recipes for the snakefish, hoping that people would capture them and consume them. Now, of course, that's a problem when dealing with the stink bug, because a recipe book for stink bug, sauteed stink bugs or stink bug chili.
I thought you were telling
would
us
not
how
be-
that was a recipe book for stink bugs.
Yeah, so that would not be attractive in any way. I would not consume a stink bug. I
But,
might try a
here's-
snakefish.
In Thailand, it would be.
Apparently, the stink bugs are an agricultural pest, and they cause widespread damage to fruit and vegetable crops. And in Japan, they are a pest to soy and fruit. And here it's peaches, apples, green beans, soybeans, cherries, raspberries, pears. And then they go into the houses in the fall. So actually, you'd be doing the world a favor by getting rid of them.
I'd be
They're
doing
not
the
good.
show a favor.
They're bad.
I agree. They're like, they serve no useful purpose that I can think of. And they have no natural predators because they multiply like crazy.
Well, it's worse than that. It's not just that they have no natural predators. It's that the environment in the eastern United States is much more favorable to them than the environment in Asia. So they're generating, there's like 50% more generations of them than in their natural generational cycle. So they're reproducing like rabbits, basically.
Like coyotes they're now in 48 states, and I did a lot of research for a big story. We did a cover story on the coyotes of Virginia because they're growing and growing, and there you go. And what happened is they reproduce so fast that you would literally have to kill 80% of them to even break even on 80% in a year to even break even on the reproductive cycle to try to control them. And then there's a feral pig problem in Australia where you've got these pigs. There's another freaking stink bug. You've got these pigs and they're wild. Of course, they were, released from captivity and became feral, however you pronounce it. And so the pigs, they're infested with worms. They're running rampant. And pigs can be dangerous. There are farmers who have gone to feed their pigs and been, one grabbed them and pulled them in, and they couldn't find anything except the wristwatch.
Hey, Dan, we have this comment from Captain Euro talking about how they eat stink bugs in southern Africa.
Well,
see?
Excellent.
They're a delicacy somewhere, I'm sure.
We'd be happy to send them.
I've lived in Western Africa, and I've never seen anybody hungry enough to eat a stink bug.
They're not called stink bugs, though. They're called aromatic bugs.
True. One man's cologne is another woman's asthma. So I guess it's all
Chanel number 5.
Indeed. All right.
Okay, so wait, before we get off the subject, they do have
Before we get off the subject.
We've never been on the subject, actually.
We're on the XE12. Go ahead.
But they do have some predators, and there are other stink bugs. Because the brown marmorated stink bug is not like a predator, but there are other stink bugs that eat them. So I guess I don't know if that's good or bad because
we have both here.
Well, one of the things the Wikipedia article points out is that native wasps and birds are increasingly adapting to eat the brown marmorated stink bug. So they are beginning to acquire some natural predators in the U.S. But that seems like it's advancing somewhat slowly.
And you discovered this information by Googling it, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that, sure.
He's secretly Bing stuff. He's always on Bing. I can't get him off that thing.
No way.
That's where he gets all his information.
No way.
But
there's a subject we didn't cover last week. What was it? Or was that this week?
Defense. One defense mechanism is numbers. I mean, that's what the cicada does. That's the theory. That's the reason they come out. They only come out every so often, but they come out in such numbers. And dogs love them, but you got to watch it because your dog will eat too many of them and he'll throw up dead cicadas in your living room. But their defense mechanism, because they can't bite or sting or anything. Their defense mechanism is when they appear in such dramatic numbers that there's no possible way for other predators to consume all of them. So they enough survive to where they can lay eggs, and then in either I forget if it's the 2-year numbers. I mean, the numbers escape me because I only deal with it every 7 or 12 years or whatever. But that was a thing, and they come out like crazy. They're all over the place. If you go outside, and you get hit in the face with this 3-inch bug, and it kind of freaks you out. But that's their defense mechanism. They come out in such numbers that they can't all be consumed. Obviously, the stink bug has mastered that approach. Plus,
it says that once they find a good place to weather the winter, they exude some kind of like a pheromone that attracts all of their friends. So that's probably what's going on in your house right now, Dan.
You think it's basically a party?
They're having a party.
Almost daily, one ends up in the shower, and then you just take the shampoo bottle
orgy,
and you,
not a party.
There you go.
Shove it down the
They're
drain.
making baby bugs.
All right, so we're good on stink bugs?
Are we?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Excellent. Okay, so I actually have a friend on Facebook. My last comment on this, Alan, that would be
You actually have a friend?
I do.
Is it a friend or is it a friend or a friend?
Is it Google Wallet or Google Wallet?
Exactly.
Or is it... Okay, so No, he's a friend of mine. He's a photographer for the USDA. He used to be a photographer for the Warren Sentinel, which is a newspaper here in Warren County. And that's how I met him before I started my newspaper. And so he commented, he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is actually very popular with the scientists. When I posted that thing like, you know, the USDA wants to introduce Asian wasp into the wild in the United States to combat stink bugs. What could possibly go wrong? Which my sort of snippy post. And so he offered to get me a hold of a PR person who could explain why that's a good idea or why they're considering it. So I think that'd actually be an interesting conversation. And of course, I would have plenty of props to illustrate that there is a stink bug issue, and also have wasp nests. See, I don't even care anymore. I mean, they've won. They own my house here.
I remember the first time a stink bug showed up on the show.
Oh, it was freaked out. But then at some point, you know, it's almost like I'm in an Alfred Hitchcock movie. At some point, you can see defeat. I'm a hologram in their universe. Anyway, I think we've digressed. Next up, and this is what was it that she said, Jody? Like, not to change the subject or not. I was like, oh my god.
No, well, we're still on the topic before we leave the topic of stink bugs.
Yeah.
But you had it in the show notes: stink bugs in target practice.
That was a last-minute addition by Mr. Firstenberg, who reserves the right to apparently delete all of my time.
I added it when we sidetracked.
All right, so anyway, I'm guessing. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm guessing that Alan may have added this topic and asked him to intro it.
I thought you added this one, Dan.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that you added this one. Let me try to pronounce it correctly. Google Apps script.
Very good. I'm glad to hear you got the Google part correctly.
That is a tongue twister for me. Google Apps script adds support for many more APIs, including Glass. So, Alan, I don't know if you've read this story or aware of it, but if you could cram real quick and maybe inform us about what this means.
Sure. Google Apps Script, for those of you who aren't aware, is basically a set of tools that they have to let you connect things like Google Docs, Google Sheets. This is the programming language that you can use to connect all of these things together, do some other nifty things with them, connect them to other Google services like Google Analytics. You can essentially write programs that create spreadsheets, create docs, create forms, bunches of other nifty tools like this. This week they introduced a small pile of new tools that it could integrate with, including Google Glass. This is a personal favorite of mine because this is the first software that I developed for Google Glass. I developed using a Google spreadsheet. So there's some neat opportunities here. If you use Google Apps to any great deal, I recommend you take a look at Google Apps Script because there'll be a lot more that you're going to be able to do with it. Next subject, Dan.
I thought others would want to weigh in on that.
Actually, Dan, wait a minute, Alan, can you tell? Well, I'm interested because I didn't get to read the article because the link came. I found the link while we were talking, and I haven't had a chance to read it. But I don't. Do you know what kinds of things one could integrate with? I mean, give me an idea of what you would write an app script thing to do with Glass.
Well, yeah.
I mean, what did you do with it in the spreadsheet?
What I did with it in the spreadsheet was I was demonstrating that if you added a row, and if the row was correctly formatted, but if you added a row to a spreadsheet, that row would then be echoed onto Glass. And if you then changed the card that showed up on Glass, it would reflect those changes back onto the spreadsheet. This is that was the foundation of what I started doing my glassware projects with. That's pretty much what I do. This is the foundation of my Voodoo project. But for general purpose, AppScript serves very well for people who've got some very specific needs. So there was one simple example. Another simple example is, yeah, we'll leave it at that simple example.
I'm trying to think about what I would use it for. I am learning Google Apps Script, for which I only know how to use in spreadsheets because it's the only way I know how to use it. But
well, one of the cool things about AppScript is that you can use it to create new functions in Google Sheets. So if you have a complicated function that you want to build up, you can write it in AppScript and use it as just a simple formula in a cell. That's one way to use AppScript in general. But let's come up with a very hypothetical function that this spreadsheet function can now call to Glass, get the value of the last message that you posted to the service in Glass, or the last message that you shared with your spreadsheet through Glass, and insert that value as the value in a cell. You can do this now as part of a spreadsheet function.
okay.
And you're trying to figure out why you'd want to do that.
Yeah, you know how this works. It gets a programmer excited, but the rest of us don't really know what the hell we would do with that.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is looking at your current workflows and how you use spreadsheets today. The project that I'm working on, Voodoo, goes a little bit beyond what AppScript can and does do with it. It tries to automate some of this for you. So I'm working, for example, with a contractor, a building contractor, and he currently uses AppScript a lot to record, to document the state of a construction project or a construction site. And what he currently does is he goes around with the camera, he takes pictures, and he goes around with a tape recorder and he records his field notes, and then he gets back and he merges the two by listening to his field notes and going through his pictures and pasting, and typing it up and pasting it all together into a Google Doc. What he's now doing is he's going around with Google Glass, and he takes a picture and he dictates into Glass, and all of this now gets saved automatically into Google Drive for him. So he just gets back and he essentially just copies and pastes it all into a single document. It's all, half the work is done for him already. So it's looking at your workflows and finding the best ways to integrate that with Glass. Now, so the question comes out, what would you do with Glass and a spreadsheet? And some of it is, it's going to be, it depends. If I want to be able to just essentially read out loud and say, okay, I'm trying to think of a good hypothetical. What if I was a real estate agent and I'm working with a client, and we're at a house and they say, how much, what would my mortgage payment be for this house? And I can say, I don't know, let me find out. And you can say, okay, Glass, mortgage, house price, $300,000. Okay, that now goes into the spreadsheet, which does the amortized mortgage calculation, and the result would appear in another cell in the spreadsheet, and that cell now gets sent back to me on Glass. I get the chirp and I say, okay, your mortgage payment would be such and such. Okay, Sreek, who works on Wall Street, I'm sure he's got a pile of clients. By the way, hi, Sreek. He's got a pile of clients who would love to have numbers just magically appear in front of them if they give another number out loud. So if they just say something like, if I bought, what's my margin on coal, and have that number just appear to them because all of that data was sitting in a spreadsheet, that's kind of powerful, especially because they know how to build spreadsheets already. So if I can get somebody who knows how to build a spreadsheet and have it so that the numbers come in and go out through Glass automatically, they're thrilled. And those are the kind of tools that things like AppScript and Voodoo can do.
Sreek, mute.
No, I think he wants to say something.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sreek.
I thought you were specifically talking about Google's capability of delivering such results. through glass. But I would say that at this moment, whether the what's that graph? What graph is that? I forgot. Knowledge graph, is that capable? I don't know. Is it? What do you think, Alan?
Depends which part of the knowledge graph you want to tap into.
I'm saying knowledge graph. You know, yeah. So I was thinking something like IBM's Watson may be more powerful in that area as opposed to Google search returns as of now. In terms of, I mean, even Wolfram Alpha. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but Wolfram Alpha, I think Wolfram Alpha is actually a fairly good example, because at its heart, it's a computation engine.
Right.
But if you think about spreadsheets, how they are very tailored calculation engines, because every analyst knows how to build a spreadsheet, and will, and does on an hourly basis. That's their bread and butter, basically.
So you give emphasis not to the data, but how it is displayed through the glass, as opposed to actual data itself, or the way it is rendered to the user on the fly when he wants it. Is that what you're saying? I mean, the search algorithm will obviously improve over a period of time, regardless of which application you're going to use, right?
Right. I'm not thinking about it in terms of the search algorithm. I'm basically saying that when you have data that you want to manipulate yourself, that's when you've got tools like AppScript that will help you.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Next subject, Dan.
Okay, next up is a seasonal topic. The Google Santa Tracker game. Apparently, you can play it optionally, and I guess you can track Santa. And I'm curious what your thoughts on this are, Alan, or any observations, and also this controversy over the I guess is it NOAA? How do you pronounce it? NOAA as the Santa Tractor they've been doing since like I think the 1950s or something, and they were in cahoots with Google, and now they're in cahoots with Microsoft. I'm not sure what happened there, but they've got this video out, and they were criticized because they have like I don't know if they're like F-18s or whatever.
No, it wasn't NOAA. The military has been doing Santa trackers for decades now.
I thought whatever agency they did a video, and they showed two military
Department of
jets.
Defense.
Okay, they showed two military jets tracking Santa, and I have no problem with that. I mean, escorting Santa. I'm sorry, NSA moment there, and so. There was some criticism of that, like they're militarizing Santa Claus. I was like, oh my God, do we need another controversy this week? But anyway, what do you think about the Santa Tracker game? Any thoughts on whether it's wrong to have military jets escorting Santa Claus so he can get those packages delivered in time, even, you know, more efficiently than Amazon because he doesn't use third parties?
Or drones.
Absolutely. We don't know if Santa uses drones or not.
I think Santa should use some drones. But
absolutely. So any thoughts on the controversy? And I was trying to book Santa Claus on the program tonight, kids, but unfortunately he had an obligation. He's busy with the elves getting all some Christmas presents ready for the world. So
this is his busy time of year.
Absolutely.
And Alan would know.
Yeah, he's the big get this year. So I don't feel bad. I think O'Reilly got him tonight, and then he's on 60 Minutes Sunday. But in any event, even though we don't have the guest of honor, Alan, you want to elaborate on the Santa game? I know you've been. I think you're one of the top-rated players, right?
I can neither confirm nor deny. But no, I have no comment on this subject. I didn't add this topic.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not.
Is there anyone who would like to discuss the Santa game? Okay.
Santa's obviously got a big following here tonight.
So we are, just for the record, I don't like to put words in people's mouths, but speaking for the panel, we are pro Santa. and apple pie and mom, and we
pro
would
the
encourage
reindeer.
you to.
What was that, Jody? You like venison? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said I'm pro reindeer.
So you like
oh my
venison?
God!
Don't extrapolate that.
Santa, yeah. Are you suggesting that Santa doesn't have a retirement farm for elderly reindeer, and instead,
Ships them off to NORAD.
oh my God! All right, we're gonna get in trouble here if we start attacking Santa.
Oh yeah, because we weren't in trouble before.
We haven't offended gays and Christians yet. That's at the end, but we can't
We're working
offend
on
Santa fans. That would be too much. Okay, so next up.
Actually, you know what? Before we move on to the next up, let me just quickly say, no. This is a quick advice for the 5 or 6 of us, 5 or 6 people who are watching. Normally, we cover Google Play Store items on Monday on our Android week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But I wanted to point out that if you actually like the movie Elf, Elf is free today for purchase on the Google Play Store in standard resolution. So if you like the SD, if you're willing to put up with Will Ferrell and SD video,
I'm a fan of his Anchorman stuff.
And even if you're not, it's a free movie, so go get it.
Okay, so it's isn't it okay? I think on desktop you can watch SD for free, or you can pay like $3 for HD. But on your mobile device, you can get either one.
No, you can only get the SD for free. You still have to pay for the HD version,
even if you get it on mobile.
Yes.
Isn't it available on Netflix anyway?
I don't know.
Why you want to kill the mood?
I'm sorry.
Is it available? I don't know if it's available. Well, but here's
sometimes it's a lot of talk.
Why you want to
about
rain in our
nothing.
parade?
No, it's a good question. Is it available on Netflix?
Google Play. Google Play.
Jody reigns. Jody reigns.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's funny. Jody reigns. You should wear a tiara.
Thank you.
Except not when you're holding that dynamite in a bag puppy dog you got, because she would knock the tiara off your
Right.
Ruger.
Okay, so anyway, so we're pro Santa Claus, for the record. Speaking for the entire panel.
No, it's not available on Netflix.
Oops, sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't do it.
Okay.
Just for the record, it's not available on Netflix.
Next up, a topic I'm hoping Alan put in here because I have to pee. Transparency report, government removal requests continue to rise. So you want to put this into context, explain what the transparency report is that Google puts out every year. And
they put it out every quarter.
Every quarter, excuse me. And they discuss by country, I think, right? And then we're seeing more and more of this. But they are not at liberty to disclose everything that they would like to. So you want to put all this in perspective for us?
Sure, since you introed it so well.
By saying I had to pee.
Right. So what we've seen since 2010 is that Google has been publishing these quarterly reports about how many requests from government to access or remove content, or basically, get data out from Google per quarter. And depending on the country, they may be allowed to report certain things and not others. They've tried to break it down by country. They're also doing a little bit of analysis in case you're not tracking the numbers so carefully. So, for example, this time they pointed out there has been a sharp increase in requests from Turkey to remove content from the platforms, nearly a tenfold increase over the second half of last year. So these were not quarterly, but semi-annually. And about 2/3 of the total requests called for the removal related to alleged violations of what they refer to as Law 5651, Thank you so much, Google. I went to click on what law 5651 is, and I'm now reading something in Turkish. Michael Banks, are you still here? Sorry, Michael Ellis, you here? No comment from Michael. Okay. So they do break this down.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I was muted.
That's okay. Do you know any Turkish?
No, I don't know any Turkish. Although we do have Turkish practice hangouts at the languagepracticehangouts.com website and community.
So these appear to be mostly requests for takedowns due to copyright issues. So, to quote them, over the past 4 years, one worrying trend has remained consistent. Governments continue to ask us to remove political content. Judges have asked us to remove information that's critical of them. Police departments want us to take down videos or blogs that shine a light on their conduct. And local institutions like town councils don't want people to be able to find information about their decision-making process.
I'm sure that's right.
So, Dan, as a newspaper reporter, what do you think about these requests? Once you unmute yourself, what do you think about these requests?
I think that it's fantastic that Google, in every way that they are legally allowed to, makes it transparent. I think that this gets to the larger issue. I mean, countries have different rules. I mean, you can look at North Korea, which would be the most medieval, and then other countries that are totally free or whatever. They all have a vested interest in, for whatever reason, in quelling their enemies. They could be legitimate enemies in terms of you're an evil dictatorship and you have people trying to overthrow you and install democracy, or they could be enemies. I don't know how to describe it. I just think that when Google puts these things out, it highlights the issue, and every 3 months people get to talk about it, and it also brings up the issue that in the United States they're not allowed to list everything because they have the right to request information, and the company's not allowed to divulge that the request existed.
Now it appears, I just wanted to break in there, it appears that this is actually the transparency report for takedown notice, for government takedown notices. So it's not the transparency report on information collection, it's the transparency report on information suppression.
Okay, so it's not Google Wallet, it's Google Wallet. I'm sorry.
Right.
Okay.
And I was confused there initially too.
And
go, Michael.
But Alan, does that mean that they're constrained from sharing with us what the government has asked them to take down? Is that what I understood?
That's not entirely clear. My understanding, though, is in some cases they have been, because if they tell you what they've taken down, then they're not taking it down. But also in the past, they've done things. Yeah, in the past they have removed the content, but left a note in the place saying this content has been removed by the government. And they've gotten away with that on some level.
You can often go to that content, like when they get notifications to remove piracy stuff, you can find the list of all the exact links to each episode of Lost or Friends or whatever it is.
In fact, I believe they're required by law to publish the takedown notice that they've received, but that's from commercial takedowns, not governmental takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole thing. I mean, I'm glad Google's pushing on this within their abilities to do so.
Me too.
And at the same time, I recognize that when look at Bin Laden, we were all excited when we got him, and that was through surveillance. And if someone is, frankly, I wasn't surprised by any of this stuff. If I pick up my phone and I called the known Somali pirate's cell phone, the NSA would discover that, and they might alert the FBI that Dan McDermott just called the known Somali pirate. and then they might look and find out that I've called 3 or 4 of them, and maybe I'm in on some Somali pirate thing. When they caught Bin Laden, they did it through other means, but we want these successes. We want to be protected. At the same time, as we watch all these stories, like Target just got hacked everybody's, for like a 2-week period or whatever it was. They hacked everybody's credit card information. We worry that if they are monitoring this stuff, and all this stuff exists in the phone company's records anyway. Every call you make on your cell phone is in Sprint or Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile, whoever you use. It's in a database anyway. And then we're all freaked out because I don't care. I'm not calling terrorists or pimps or whatever. I assume if I call up Osama bin Laden on the phone and say, yo, how can we kill some Americans? I would assume that would be picked up by somebody. And I would want that to be picked up by somebody. I would want to be on some government watch list if someone did that.
But Dan, the issue here is that these requests for takedown are simply critical of whatever person or government that is doing the request. It's not that there's real libel or real issues here. It's simply that they don't want the critical information out there, and that's what makes it
bad,
evil.
Yeah,
evil.
Yeah, it is. As much as I didn't like being trolled for 4 months or whatever, my only recourse was when they used my personal picture to create these memes. They basically got to say whatever they wanted about me because of this free speech thing. But governments and public officials seem to think that they're above that.
Well, in this case, it's largely someone who's critical of every dictatorial regime wants to know everybody who's saying anything against them.
No, in some cases it was actually police. It was actually police departments who wanted the videos taken down of their cops beating someone senseless. It's not just dictatorial regimes asking for these takedowns. It is actually like city councilmen who got caught doing something, wanting this stuff taken down.
To play devil's advocate, as I like to do, if a bunch of negative police videos go out, once people lose confidence in the police department, therefore lose power in the police department, therefore it causes chaos in national security. They can almost relate anything to freaking national security.
Hang on, Michael. In Illinois, they
we're going on topic, right? My bad.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Right. Says the guy with the target range poster behind him. Okay, so here's the deal. In Illinois, they had a law that said that they started to interpret the illegal wiretapping statute to mean that if you videotaped a police officer on duty in public arresting someone, that because that your iPhone or your Android phone would also capture the audio, that you were illegally wiretapping because it was a 2-consent state. And so under those rules, the Rodney King beating would have been illegal wiretapping. And these people were being charged with felonies. And the federal government rightly, in my opinion, said that you have to stop this or we're going to weigh in, we're going to shut you down. And so they backed off. But people have a right. I know a lot of cops. I've got the local sheriff and the local police chief on my cell phone, and they have my number on theirs.
I thought you were about to say on your payroll.
No. Only when it's election time for the one and he buys an app. But I'm joking. But they're both upstanding folks. And I had one guy who actually quit and said that he thought the local sheriff was like the best in Virginia, and he'd quit, right? So, but that's a whole separate thing. But there are some corrupt people, and I've seen it. All of us have seen it, and I think that when governments overreach like that and try to violate their upholding the Constitution duties, which is usually in their oath of office, I would imagine, then I think that's a problem. And I think the citizens have a right to protect themselves because they're paying for the service anyway.
To answer Michael's point, though, Michael, you essentially just did a very classic shift of blame in your devil's advocate. You're saying that the reason why it becomes a national security problem is because the video was published, whereas the real reason why it becomes a national security problem is because the cop misbehaved.
Yep.
The fundamental problem isn't that the video came out. The fundamental problem is that the cop did something wrong, and therefore, because the cop did something wrong, trust is undermined in the police.
Exactly.
To a certain extent, but like.
So the person
is representing the whole, though. For example, if like
that's right.
Yes,
that's right. So that they should behave correctly and not beat up somebody, then they wouldn't get videotaped beating up somebody, and then that wouldn't undermine their authority later on.
Well, here's the thing. Even without the video,
what undermines their authority? The person who did the misdeed.
There are look. There's two sides to this, and it's hard to weigh it out.
At least.
There's many sides to this. There are cases where I have seen videos that appeared to be one thing, but weren't. They carefully edited a video involving a cop, and they didn't show what happened before or what happened after, leading up to it. And it's a thankless job, and you're constantly berated. And I understand all that, and we all want the cops when we're being broken into. I want to call 911 and a bunch of thug cops come and beat the hell out of the guy trying to break in, right? So I want that. At the same time, I don't want to be abused by a reckless cop or a cop who's not following the laws. But then sometimes they're victims, and people carefully edit these things. But at the same time, we recently saw this thing that went viral on the internet where there was some young black guy who worked at a convenience store in a bad part of town, and he had been arrested literally hundreds of times going to work. They would just come in the store and arrest him. And I was just like, my God, this guy is working, earning a living, and he's just randomly being arrested. And it was like once a week for like years. And the guy installed security cameras, and that's the only reason that they busted the guy, the cops. It was the most outrageous, like, I can't believe this is happening in America moment I've experienced in quite some time. So it can work both ways. But your point's not lost, Michael. The cops can often be unfairly portrayed. But that's the price you pay for the First Amendment. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the price you pay for the First Amendment is you have a right to be stupid. You have a right to be wrong. You have a right to be a moron. You have a right to be a sensationalist. And this is not new. But that's the price you pay. Because, and the caveat to that is that when you do say something stupid or wrong or ignorant, like saying, all vaccines are bad and kill people, we shouldn't do any, that others can chime in and say, well, you're an idiot, and they can choose, we don't want to buy your product, we don't want to listen to you anymore, we want to boycott your sponsors, etc. The First Amendment is multifaceted and a very powerful tool, and it's the very first amendment that they ever implemented, and it should be preserved at all costs. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You shouldn't be able to release the nuclear launch codes, but with the exception of a very few things specifically articulated by the Supreme Court or just by common sense, and then verified by the Supreme Court, because most of them have been tested, the First Amendment's a good thing, and we should not curtail that. Any other thoughts? Are we still on the XE12 release?
We're still on the Stinkbug topic, yes.
Yeah. All right, so that's the transparency report topic.
You guys want to see my puppy?
Yeah, absolutely. Where's the kitten now? I thought we were going to get cats. We got it complete. We got Duck Dynasty, puppies.
One moment, let me get her.
NSA. We got all the hits. This is going to be
It's
a
not
ratings
Saturday
bonanza.
yet, Dan.
We might hit 3,000 views.
It's not Saturday
on
yet, Dan.
This would be a perfect segue into the Duck Dynasty, actually.
Yeah, it would. And Microsoft isn't all that interesting anyway.
We can do Microsoft real quick, and
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Are we waiting for? Oh my
I thought
goodness!
we were
Look at
looking at
this
Jody's
cat.
cat.
Now tell us the name, the gender, the age, all that good stuff about this cat.
We're cut it out. This
Is not at all excited about being on TV.
No, she's very calm. This is Zuli, and she's a female. And
She is.
we adopted her as a kitten. She's got really blue eyes. I don't know if you can see her eyes, but
Oh my gosh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
they're her name is
Beautiful
Zuli
cat.
because her eyes are the color of lapis lazuli. You can't tell, but Ruger is like he's trying to bite her underneath. But yeah, she's a cat and she's fat, and she's pretty bomb-proof because he just walked away. But he's been trying to nip at her and she's just like ignoring him.
She's literally a fat cat.
Look, I'll show you. She's very fat.
She's a fat cat.
She's fat.
Wow.
And I don't know why, because I have another one and the other one's skinny, so I don't know why she's fat. But now we've covered the gamut. We've had puppies, dogs, and now a cat. So
This will be fun.
What a way to bring in Catter Day, right?
Absolutely. She just waved at us.
She did. Yes.
That's awesome. There you go. Yeah, she's a cutie
growling.
pie.
She's growling
Beautiful
at Ruger.
eyes. Look at those beautiful eyes. Wondering who are these strange people looking at it? Look at me.
Hello.
All right.
Microsoft.
Now she's gonna sleep on your keyboard or poop or something exciting. There you go.
All of the above.
All right. So now we've covered all the memes, I guess. And now we haven't. I guess Microsoft's in the news lately because of their horrific campaign, grasping for in their death.
Because they're doing such a great job
grasping for
promoting their
whatever in their-
products.
Yeah, in their death rows. So I guess they hired a CIO today, and they're looking for a new CEO. And but
Who'd they
apparently
hire?
a major Microsoft exec has gone Google. So
Who did they
what's up
hire
with
as
this?
CIO?
They hired a CIO today. I don't remember the name. It was in my zombie state after putting a newspaper out, but I just saw that headline.
I didn't even notice that. I don't. Does anyone care?
No, they don't. Nothing's changing.
We're vastly more interested in a Microsofter going Google. So what's that about?
Yeah, the story on this one is that I'm gonna have to get somebody else to actually try to pronounce this this person's name because there's no way that I can pronounce it correctly. Apparently, one of their lead lead developers or top person who is involved in Bing Maps has worked on their 3D panoramas, has done stuff involving augmented reality and wearable computing and user interfaces, who's been with them for about 6 or 7 years now, is leaving Microsoft to go to Google, where he will be involved in nobody's exactly sure what, but there are assumptions that he will be working on aspects of machine learning, which is clearly an interesting aspect for Google. So, this is yet another major. This is kind of showing that people are deserting a sinking ship, and going where their skills are appreciated, at least hopefully appreciated.
I mean,
You want to elaborate on that one, Michael?
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple people leaving Google, so I think it's just that area out there is people going and coming all the time, going different places. But I don't think it's because something was necessarily a sinking ship. Maybe they had a better, job offer.
Most of the people, though, that I've seen leaving Google, leave Google to start their own companies or to join startups. Most of the people leaving Microsoft are leaving Microsoft to go to Google or Facebook or Apple or another big company.
So what does that mean?
To me, I mean, I guess I kind of see it as people are recognizing that Microsoft is not going anywhere, whereas people will leave Google not because they don't see Google not going anywhere, but because they're ready for another bigger challenge.
That's an interpretation. Well, I don't know that that's the only interpretation.
They want it.
The
people that leave Google for their own businesses are looking for their own. They want to build something of their own and reap the rewards of their own engineering prowess and creativity and entrepreneurship. That's why people leave all big companies and go to start their own companies. That's typically the root behind that. I'm not sure that you can conclude that people leaving one big company for another big company are necessarily leaving a sinking ship. I think Jody made the point that they might have just gotten a really good offer, and Google's good at attracting good talent, and they find some at Microsoft sometimes.
I think it's. I don't dispute that that's true on some level, but I don't think Google is necessarily offering more, a better compensation package than Microsoft is on a broad level.
I think so.
Really? I'd assume their compensation package is about the same.
Probably in benefits as well. I don't know.
Microsoft has excellent benefits and has had excellent benefits for decades. Microsoft has plenty of money to pay their people. Maybe there are some small differences in the compensation packages, but I can't imagine they're that vastly different.
It sounds like a big leap, though, to say that they're leaving a sinking ship. I mean, they could be leaving for many reasons. And without being an insider, without knowing fully what is transpiring, it could be poor management. It could be many reasons.
I'd call poor management a sinking ship.
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't necessarily be the end of a company. I mean, there's many companies that are run poorly and yet they survive. In my humble opinion.
They do.
Okay. I'll grant the point.
Yeah, but it's an interesting observation.
And I will grant that this is a speculation on my part. Not exactly conclusive proof, but I think there are a lot of people in the tech industry who do believe that Microsoft is not the place to be if you want to, do something in the industry.
Well, I mean, they're already doing something in the industry.
This is a person who, was involved in major aspects of technology. He's involved in augmented reality, wearable computing, natural user interfaces, maps, 3D panoramas. These are things that everyone is doing. And if he thought he could be doing them at Microsoft, it's not like Microsoft doesn't have a good R&D program historically. Why would you leave?
I mean, anyone who's not Google, who has another good service other than Google?
I'm not sure where you're going at with that one, unless you're trying to agree with me.
I mean, you're making the case that he's not getting it at Microsoft, but I mean, he won't get it anywhere else. So why leave?
There are plenty of other places that are doing this kind of research. Most of them are smaller companies, though.
Not like you said, high in the industry, or best in the industry. No. Who else? Waze was close and they got bought out.
Okay, yeah, that's a valid point. But again, that more goes to my argument that they see Microsoft as a sinking ship.
Who?
People who are leaving.
I don't buy it. Even if it is a sinking ship, it's only getting water from like one of the windows in one of the cabins, and it's not. I mean, it's not an issue.
No, that is a valid point. I mean, Microsoft is making money. They're still raking in the money.
Inertia alone. It's gonna be a long time before that one sinks.
I don't know. People said that about BlackBerry.
And it's still around. It's still hovering.
Still floundering along.
It's been a long time for BlackBerry, though. I mean, it's not dead.
Not dead yet.
It's close.
Yeah, it's definitely time to call in the Monty Python skit here. I think, I think Jody got that one right.
Yeah. Now it's dead. It's just wrong.
How's your Google Plus week? Right?
Okay, Dan. Here's the topic you wanted.
Man, I'm trying to find the quotes here. Shoot. Okay.
It's been 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we're finally getting to the topic that Dan has wanted to talk about the entire evening.
I just wanted to get your views on it here.
Are you talking about Duck Dynasty?
Yeah, we're talking about Duck Dynasty.
Now I have to go pull up all the comments I made so that I can just read them.
All right, so here's the deal. This is a interesting topic, and the closest analogy I can make is Paula Deen. When it came out, Paula Deen said the N-word, and she said in a court case that she had used it in the past, and then all this other stuff happened. And I was thinking, like, is it breaking news that an old Southern white woman in Georgia used the N-word in the past? And are we surprised by that? And then Phil Robertson, and I can tell you, I've met his son. I interviewed him, and I met his daughter-in-law, Jessica, Jeff and Jessica Robertson. And I posted a video on YouTube, and they were super nice people. I did after the interview. It was a group interview with me and a guy radio station and another person. And at the end, I had to get the selfie, right? And to make my redneck friends jealous that I'd met a Duck Dynasty guy. And so Jessica actually, I couldn't figure out my phone because it was on video, not still. And so she actually said, "Oh, let me do it." And so she took the picture of me and Jep. So they were super nice. And now during the conversation, they talked about religion. She did, and I think he affirmed it, that they're big into their religious beliefs. So it wasn't controversial at all. It was they were at a parade and stuff, but we had like 10 minutes with them, and it was an interesting interview. And I asked more about like what's it like to have your life on TV and that sort of stuff. So then Phil Robertson, who's his dad and is the patriarch of the show, said in a GQ magazine article, and I'm sharing this with the audience, but you guys can't see it. He said there are two quotes. One one has been taken out of context, and one hasn't. And then the YouTube video, which is actually worse. This one says he says it seems to me, this is the controversial quote. It says, "It seems to me a vagina as a man would be more desirable than a man's anus. That's just me. I'm just thinking there's more there. She's got more to offer. I mean, come on, dudes. You know what I'm saying? But hey, sin. It's not logical, my man. It's just not logical." And the other quote, where they said I've heard it said that he was comparing it to bestiality, but really that's not the case. If you look at the quote, again, this is from GQ magazine. Start with homosexual behavior and just morph out from there. Bestiality, sleeping around with this woman and that woman and that woman and those men. Then he paraphrases Corinthians, "Don't be deceived, neither the adulterers, the idolaters, the male prostitutes, the homosexual offenders, the greedy, the drunkards, the slanderers, the swindlers, they won't inherit the kingdom of God. Don't deceive yourself, it's not right." Now there's also this, I found it from a tweet from this humorous Twitter thing. He said, this is a sermon he gave, I think, a couple years ago. He said gays are insolent, arrogant, God haters who invent ways of doing evil. Now, I haven't watched the whole thing. It's 50 minutes. I just didn't have time to prep him for the show. But one thing the thing was that he referred to gay people as God hating, right? And my first thought is, there are gay churches, there are gay pastors. That maybe they don't believe the way he believes. And then this is a complicated issue because if you watch some of these shows on Sunday morning on your local television station, a lot of them are basically saying the same thing, but just obviously in a more politically correct manner. So this is a very complicated issue. On the one hand, the result of this was there was an outcry from various organizations, and he's been suspended from the program. Now, Duck Dynasty is a huge program. It's the most popular show in the history of all cable television. Their merchandise, if you've gone into a store like a Walmart or something, and you see all these Duck Dynasty products, they're projected this year to do $400 million just in merchandise, right? So basically it's a $1 billion a year enterprise. And their actual business is they make duck calls. And so on the one hand, it's like...
Wait, for duck hunting.
yeah, I mean, duck calls. So anyway, I'll finish up my synopsis here. A&E announced that they're suspending Phil, who's the father, and the guy I interviewed was one of his sons, and then there's grandkids. It's a big family. It's a reality program highlighting basically, sort of a southern redneck family out in the woods and doing funny stuff. And I'm not in any way surprised, based on what I've heard and seen, that he would say something like this, because it's kind of the reason they're stars is because they're kind of outlandish. And also, these views were not spoken in an articulate manner the way you would see a preacher on Sunday giving the same views, but they're basically the same views. So A&E suspended him, which means basically if they don't fix this, it's the end of the show, because I can't imagine the rest of the family continuing with this without the patriarch at the helm. And frankly, I don't think I've weighed in except on one comment on a post that Pam showed me. This is it was a really good post, and I think I saved it here, from Rory S. And it's he showed this meme. Let me screen share here. It was a picture of Phil, and he said, "If you're pissed off about this redneck getting fired for expressing his opinions, then please do the following. Stand up in your workplace and talk about how God hates fags and how places where black people live are dangerous. Then let me know if you're still employed." Now, if you know Rory, you realize this was a conversation starter, and boy did it. It was one of the most intelligent and interesting conversations I've participated in a long time. I'm sure Pam will agree, because she's the one who drew my attention to it.
Yeah, and
it got told a little bit at the end. So let me throw it to you, Pam.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just to
go ahead and advance this topic and tell us what you think.
A lot of Roy's posts are not intelligent and thoughtful. He does them every once in a while, and he's an extremely intelligent man who likes to troll. So, what can I say? But I completely agreed with Rory's post, and I have to tell you, I've had, this is going to sound horrible, I've had over 30 jobs in my life, and as soon as you collect a paycheck, you agree to the terms of employment, and in this case, this family, I don't care what their beliefs are. I, in fact, agree with their right to say whatever, but they can't do something to put their company in jeopardy. They just can't do it. And they did. They went out and publicly said something that created issues, and they should not have done it. And A&E kind of had no choice but to take action here. I personally don't think that they did at all.
But I don't necessarily agree with that, Pam. And to be honest,
and that's okay that you don't agree with it. But the thing is that that A&E and a lot of other big media companies have these morality clauses and these other clauses that say, you know, your life belongs to us. They've made a crap load of money off of A&E, and you know what? They should have towed the line, and they can have whatever beliefs that they want, but they keep them to themselves until after they're done with the show.
But that's not why they're famous, and that's not why they're on A&E, and that's not why 14 million people tune in every week to that stupid show, okay? It's not a show that I'm familiar with or that I even watch. But because they have opinions, and because they're controversial, and because they are from this little Louisiana backwater kind of community, that's why people watch them, because they're intrigued. What he stated was not condemning a lifestyle, but what he was stating were his beliefs. And in this country, people have a right to their beliefs. There's over, I think there's something like...
you have a right to your beliefs, but you don't have a right to disparage another group.
He didn't disparage
with your beliefs. Oh, he sure did. Oh, yes, he did.
No, listen. Hold on. I want to.
So just so you know, both are protected. Religion is protected, and sexual orientation are both protected by the same federal law, the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Did you actually read the quotes, though, Pam, that
yes,
he said?
I did.
Yeah. Okay, hang on 1 second. Jody, here. Let me. I'm going to go to Alan in a second, but because Alan didn't want me to talk about this, and he disagrees with me on this. I think.
No, they're doing fine on their own. You really don't need to go.
Okay. Here's the thing. No, I want to. Oh, we're still going to Alan. Okay, so here's my point. The First Amendment is a multifaceted instrument. I'm a newspaper publisher, right? It said you have the right to freedom of speech. It didn't clarify that means you can write, right? But it's accepted that way and interpreted that way. So freedom of speech can be expressed in a number of ways. It could be when some backward redneck guy says something inflammatory. Freedom of speech could be whether a big cable channel decides whether or not to hire that person. Freedom of speech can be exercised by an independent group like GLAAD or a Christian fundamentalist group exercising their mouthpiece to discuss the issue. Freedom of speech can be exercised by consumers deciding whether to sign a petition to reinstate said person who said the initial comment, or whether other consumers decide not to purchase those products to the tune of $400 million a year, big money. Freedom of speech could be whether Walmart decides to add more Duck Dynasty product or eliminate it. They eliminated in the Paula Deen situation. Freedom of speech is not just, it's wrong to say that because this company reacted a certain way to what this person said, that they're against freedom of speech. A&E is exercising their freedom of speech just like Phil Robertson was. Just like the consumers, just like the petition signers, just like everyone else. Freedom of speech means you can express your opinion freely without fear of government hindrance. And all of the participants in this have exercised their freedom of speech. And one guy referred to him as the Rosa Parks of the 2013 or whatever. I mean, it's like, oh my God, bit of a stretch. But Alan, I don't want to divulge too much because we had a private conversation before this.
Then don't say anything, and I'll just tell you why you totally missed the boat.
Okay, please.
On this issue. The whole freedom of speech argument, it's totally a red herring. That's not the issue here. If you think it's the issue, then you're wrong. I'm sorry. I will have to completely disagree with you if you're trying to make this as a case for freedom of speech or freedom of religion. If you're just going to make that argument, you're missing the argument completely. The argument isn't whether he's entitled to think about these things, whether he's entitled to feel these things, whether he's entitled to express these things, whether he is entitled to practice these things personally. That's not the issue at all. The issue is whether he is a racist and a bigot and a bad person.
Who cares?
That's the issue.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not. That's why they're on the show, Alan. Because it's like Honey Boo Boo. I mean, people watch because it's like a freak of nature. They're curious. It doesn't necessarily mean they agree or.
Jody, I didn't say whether somebody had to watch the show to agree or disagree. The reason why this became an issue isn't over his freedom of speech, his freedom of religion. It's over the fact that there are people who, at some level, finally just can't believe that there is such intolerance still in the United States.
But you know,
it raised it to such a level that people started to notice that he was.
But of course there's intolerance. We knew that. That's not a surprise. And not only that, but if he expressed it, so he expressed it. You don't like his opinion, don't watch the show.
Well,
but that's why people tune in and watch it.
But you can not watch the show, which they did, and you can call him out on it. And you can say, hey, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're whatever.
And
those
also
are the things you can do, and you know that's what people did.
And that's fine. People can call him a bigot,
right.
But here's the thing. Okay, so A&E discontinued. Well, first they took the patriarch off, right? But then the rest of the family came forward and they said they're not going to be on the show anyway without him. So, and Pam, to your point, A&E did a lot for them. They did a lot for A&E. 14 million people tuning in to watch, right? So, ostensibly, that's a ton more than tuned in to watch the season finale of Breaking Bad. So, and that's every week. That's a huge audience. I'm not part of that audience. I don't watch the show. But I guess what I object to is that here is somebody who's expressing an opinion. It's an opinion. And you can find him detestable. You can disagree with his opinion all you want, but it's an opinion. That's all it is.
So,
right. Now, if I said the same thing, would I be called a bee as well?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you would.
And that's
you
know what? That's not right.
That's too bad. I would think that you were a bigot and a racist if you said what he said about blacks and gays. Sorry.
He didn't say anything derogatory about blacks. And the blacks
he did. He did. He didn't just happen to do it during the GQ interview, but he did. And so,
hey, can someone, before we label him a racist, can someone produce that quote? Because I know, like, the bestiality thing was taken out of context. He said, let me go back to it real quick to highlight this, because there is some. I don't have a problem calling someone out, but I have a problem not, calling them out incorrectly.
Right.
Here's the actual quote here, and I'm showing this on the screen for the other folks, but this is from the GQ article. Here's the actual quote. Start with homosexual behavior and just morph out from there. Bestiality, sleeping around with this woman and that woman and that woman and those men. Don't be deceived. Neither the adulterers, the idolaters, the male prostitutes, the homosexual offenders, the greedy, the drunkards, the slanderers, the swindlers, they won't inherit the kingdom of God. Don't deceive yourself. It's not right. So what he was saying was that sinners, in his view, are all the same. They're all acting against God. So to say that he was equating it, I mean, he wasn't and he wasn't. I mean, it's not fair to just say that he was saying that everyone that is gay is the same as someone. I don't know. I mean, I think that it was quoted out of context. I also think A&E is hypocritical here because while they're taking this quote-unquote moral stand and terminating or suspending him, they're also, I don't know if this is still accurate now, but as of earlier today, they're getting ready to run a big marathon of reruns of Duck Dynasty this weekend, starring Phil, right? So, I mean, I don't know. It's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. But go ahead and proceed, guys.
I absolutely agree with that. I do agree that A&E probably overreacted, but they had the right to do it, and that's my point. I don't agree with how A&E has treated them, but I agree with their right to do it because I am pretty sure that he violated some. What is that humming? I'm pretty sure that he violated a clause in their contract about not bringing negative light to the network by doing what he did. And I'm still looking for that. I
was going to say, maybe you can find the quote because
the other quote, I'm trying to find it.
My impression of what the comment was that Dan read from what I've picked up was that that is basically the Corinthian definition of sinners. So, I mean, my understanding is that he's very religious and probably takes the information that he gets from the church literally. You know, he wasn't picking on any individual. He just was feeling that that was a lifestyle that he was not even that he's not in favor of, but that in his opinion would not go to heaven. And again, it's opinion. It's not.
Yeah, you know what? The Westboro Baptist Church has opinions too, and so does the KKK, and you know. So where's the line drawn? So
there is no line drawn. The freedom of speech exists not to protect mom and apple pie. It exists specifically to protect unpopular speech, because they know that if you have a committee that decides what's appropriate, as they do in Europe, that could be abused. And we talked about that earlier with the transparency report. So you have to allow freedom of speech. But as I said before, freedom of speech can be exercised in many ways. It can be exercised by Phil Robertson saying his religious views. It can be exercised by A&E deciding to suspend him. And it can be exercised by consumers deciding whether to purchase their products or view it or not, based on their reaction to the controversy. That's the larger issue. All of these things, all of these expressions of outrage are all freedom of speech that we enjoy here in the United States.
Are you ready for the quote?
Sure.
Okay. So according to let me see who this is from. According to Jamel Bowie, a writer at the Daily Beast, okay, he said, hold on. I know. I had
it's
to
okay.
go. Okay. I never with my eyes, are you ready? I never with my eyes saw the mistreatment of any black person, said Robertson, discussing his childhood in Louisiana. The blacks worked for the farmers. I hoed cotton with them. I'm with the blacks because we're white trash. We are going across the field. They're singing and happy. He continued, I never heard one black person say, I tell you what, these doggone white people, not a word. Pre-entitlement, pre-welfare, you say, were they happy? Were they godly? Were they happy? No one was singing the blues. So in other words, well, okay, so then they go on. I'm not going to interpret any of that. So there you go. That's what he said.
So how's that derogatory?
I don't think it's derogatory. Other people have said it's derogatory.
There's several issues. The reason I say that this is a complicated issue, if you were having your car towed and the driver was uttering these same things, you would just not engage and just, because he's towing your car, right? But with these reality programs, we're taking, I mean, let's be honest here. I've met them, some of them, and these are not sophisticated, politically correct people who know how to talk to a television audience, and we're thrusting them into the spotlight. And what's interesting to me is that many.
I'm sorry. Hang on a second, Dan. Can you just define what you mean by sophisticated? Because clearly they are sophisticated. They've built a financial empire, and they're reinforcing that financial empire by being on TV. That shows some degree of sophistication.
There's a freaking chia pet.
They have
a Duck Dynasty chia pet.
What's another?
That's sophisticated.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I don't think
they are marketing their asses off.
As the only person who's actually met them, I can tell you that they are super nice people, but they strike me as the average. Like, I'm living in Virginia in a redneck town, and this is the exact same type of comments I might expect to hear from a local redneck neighbor. And I wouldn't think anything of it. I would just, okay, how about the skins, and that's the thing. But because they're thrust in the national spotlight, they're held to a different standard.
Well, because they are employees of a broadcast cable company and
wait a
are
minute,
public figures, they are definitely held to a different standard.
No, the cable
just like the
company
Mel
is
Gibson
raping them and taking advantage of them. Because they are not sophisticated. I don't call Chia Pets sophistication.
I'm sorry. $400 million.
That whole thing. Listen, the whole merchant. They're not doing that. I mean, yeah, like as far as sophistication, like
don't feel sorry for them. I'm telling you.
When I met,
they're taking advantage of it. Their 15 minutes. When I
was with Jeff and Jessica, I couldn't figure out how to use my camera, and Jessica took my camera from me and did the selfie, right? She's like, oh, let me do it, and I was kind of embarrassed because I host an Android show, which is on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, our Android week, and Jessica Robertson actually was able to figure out my because I was kind of nervous, and she actually took the picture for me. And so, I mean, they're not all unsophisticated, but the patriarch of the clan is not what I would say a modern, informed guy, and they've plucked him from obscurity and put him on a national stage, and then we're all shocked when the redneck evangelical Christian guy says redneck evangelical Christian things.
I am not.
We were shocked. We were shocked. I mean, everyone was shocked when when Paula Dean, the old lady from Georgia who cooks fried food, said the N-word, and everyone's aghast. I mean, come on.
Okay.
So, this and also this is no different. The basic things he was saying is no different from what is on, in churches across the country. So
you know what?
I'm just saying, like,
I actually agree with Jody here. I don't think that A&E should have done what they did, but they did, and they had a right to do it.
Okay, so let me go to that topic.
Now A&E is going to have to deal with the consequences of their decision, and I bet you anything they're going to backtrack.
They had there was no good way out of this.
I just don't think that everyone should vilify A&E for doing what they did, and I don't think everyone should vilify Phil for what he said. He said what comes natural. A&E did what they had to do in response to the political pressure that they got. Neither one of them made good decisions, and you know what? Neither one of them will win in the end. But to say that one company is hanging Phil from the tree of morality here, and and then the company is raping Phil, or that Phil is pleading to the right, or whatever it is, they're both wrong. They both made a mistake here. Okay. And they're both going to pay the price.
Okay, Stephen Heywood's weighing in here, and I would love for you to jump in. Stephen, just go to my profile. You should see an invite, or Alan will message you one. I'd love to have you jump in here if you can. But I got a question for Jody. Let's say, Jody, you are in charge of A&E. You have the #1 show on cable TV. 18 million viewers on the season premiere, broke the record of, including Shark Week, everything. And this happens, regardless of the topic, it's controversial. And now you're thinking, okay, so like your advertisers like Geico, Ford, Progressive Insurance, whoever the advertisers are on Duck Dynasty, they don't want any piece of a controversy like this. So from a purely business standpoint, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with anything that he said or what the detractors say, you're thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to destroy my network with protesters outside my advertisers. And then the rep from Geico is calling up saying, what in the hell is going on? There's 1,000 GLAD protesters outside our office in Cincinnati. Fix this. And so the easiest thing to do was what they did. Now, in my opinion, what they should have done is try to come up with a carefully crafted apology of sorts to try to placate the controversy. But that probably would have not been acceptable to them, the cast, and Phil particularly, and maybe they didn't, they were in a panic or whatever, so they dumped him, knowing that when they did that, they might get a backlash because the show was, horrifically popular. So, or is, very popular, as witnessed by the fact that A&E is going to run, based on my information from 12 hours ago, a marathon of reruns. So put yourself in that position. If you're the CEO in charge of preserving the network, what would you have done in that situation?
I think that fundamentally, I'm not muted. Okay. This is a PR stunt. I think that they've gotten a heck of a lot more interest by something like this happening than they would if he had not made these controversial statements, or ostensibly controversial statements.
A PR stunt by both sides, I'd point out.
What's that?
A PR stunt by both sides, I would point out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I also think that bottom line is that you look at somebody like Miley Cyrus, right? She did this heinous dance, they call it the twerking thing, that, what an embarrassment. Her father must be so proud, and yet, what does it do? It propels her to a higher level of stardom.
But she didn't call gays bad. He didn't
call gays bad. Oh. What he said was, go back and read it, Pam, just like the black comment, okay? Go back and read it. What he was doing was he was citing the different things, in his opinion, that were part of Corinthians that had to do with sin. And what he said is that the sinners would not go to heaven. Now, so
you're saying sin isn't bad? Hang on, Jody, so you're saying sin
Alan,
isn't
I'm
bad?
sorry. Let me just finish the thought. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, whether you agree with his interpretation or you don't agree with his interpretation, that's fine. But it is what it is. He was not saying that gay, he's going to take a gay person out and do something to them. Or,
I never said that. I never said, yes, it was. Yes, it was. If you subscribe to the Bible that says that you are going to, as a person, take the place of God to judge people, but that's what they do. No.
That's not what he said.
He did say that. He did say, I am religious, and this is what I believe because this is what the book from my fictitious God says is right and wrong. It doesn't, look, it has nothing to do with him just quoting some Bible scripture. He deeply believes it, and he deeply believes it's a sin, and he actually said that in a disparaging way. You can candy coat it all you want, but having that religious belief where you discriminate against somebody else for whatever reason is wrong. It's not our job to judge. That's God's job. And while you're on earth, you can believe it's bad, but you can't judge the person because of it.
But you know what, Pam? This is part of the whole thing with this family, okay? This is why they're popular.
I would be really pissed off if this is a publicity stunt, because you know what? It's clogging up my stream, and social media made this much worse than it really is.
Or better if it is in fact a publicity stunt.
It really. You and I might disagree fundamentally on what maybe his motivation was or what his purpose was, but the bottom line is, what he said was really controversial.
Well, Pam, I don't know that we necessarily disagree fundamentally. I think that what we're disagreeing on is what what his intention was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my feeling is this is a man. He's like Dan said. I mean, these are not cultured people, sophisticated in the ways of the world. They live in this backwater town in Louisiana. This is the culture that they have. I don't expect him to express the same opinion as somebody from New York City would. I just don't.
Yeah, we're in 2000 and we're in 2012, and
it doesn't. That's who he is.
Then yeah,
and that's why they're popular.
I know. But at the same time, you know, that you can't make excuses for people. I mean, it's just like, you know, what if they were like KKK members or whatever? Is that okay? I mean, how far down that slippery slope do you want to go? In allowing people to have
an opinion.
That's right.
Yeah, we have to allow people to have opinions.
You can have an opinion as long as you don't use that opinion to discriminate against somebody else, right?
Discriminate against. He expressed his opinion. He didn't discriminate against anyone. I guess, I don't know. I mean, Dan, help me out here.
Maybe disparage. Disparage. There you go. Disparage somebody. You know.
I don't think in his opinion he was disparaging. Whether I think he was disparaging or not is a different story. In his opinion, from his background, from his culture, I don't think he felt.
You know, and when my grandmother told me, you know, honey, I don't mind that you married a black man, but did you have to pick one that was so dark? I mean, I really don't think that, you know, she really meant it either. But I bet you anything that if she said that in a room full of black people, that they would take offense anyway. Right? She grew up in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
I've been to Bartlesville. There's a restaurant out there, and outside the restaurant, their claim to fame was that you didn't need teeth to eat their beef. That's Bartlesville.
That's funny.
That was the slogan on the restaurant. But no, I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I find it fascinating that there's a whole, like I said, this Facebook page is probably at 2 million now, but they had within a matter of half a day, they had over 1 million people that are boycotting A&E until they bring the show back.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the family is standing behind the father.
Dan, how much money are you making from this controversy?
Oh, I'm at a lot.
At least 3 cents, right?
Oh no, he's making hundreds of dollars. He can come visit me.
Yeah, I'm at my interview with his son is now at 206,220 views.
Wow.
So some good has come out of this controversy. So every cloud has a silver lining.
You're just part of the marketing juggernaut that is Duck Dynasty.
I'm part of the $400 million, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Not a huge portion of it, but
I really should have sent you some footy pajamas, Dan. Really.
I can only imagine the YouTube potential for such a thing. So we all agree. Yeah, this. What's your prediction? I'm trying to get Stephen Heywood to join, and I told him he can join audio or video. I would love for him to come in. I think he's scared of you.
Jody's right.
If you're scared, it's cool.
Right,
huh?
If Jody's right, then my prediction is the show will now have 16 million viewers a week. You know, but if not, I don't know.
I think that
if it's a publicity stunt, yeah.
What they should have done is
even bigger.
Try to craft some apology or whatever to keep on, because it's all about the I mean, the show doesn't work if there's no advertisers. And now I can't imagine a situation if I was on a TV show with my dad. I adore my parents. If they fired my dad or suspended him or whatever, regardless of the reason, I cannot imagine any situation where I would continue working on the show voluntarily, unless my contract absolutely, you know, I could get sued for big money if I didn't do it. I can't imagine betraying my family, and not, you know, and doing a television show where my dad had been fired from it. So I can't imagine the show going forward. I think it's done, unless they can figure some PR way out of it, which is doubtful.
I would throw my parents under the bus in a second.
You say that, but
then again, you know, just so you know, I haven't spoken to my parents. I haven't spoken to my parents in 3 years. They are out of my life, so there's a difference there.
But we're talking about the Robertsons.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
If I was really close, like if they fired my husband, then I'm gone. I don't care how much money. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the ties.
I think this family. I cannot imagine them.
I can't imagine it either.
You know,
there he is.
Play acting their show.
Okay, Dan.
Steven made it.
Steven is now here, and I just want to point out that we've got 35 minutes left to the show.
Okay, so we'll use. We'll go as quickly as we always do. Steven, you're joining us, and you had some thoughts in the comments. So why don't you tell us where we're right or wrong or whatever you think.
In your opinion.
Exercise your First Amendments as Phil Robertson and A&E and the viewers and the commenters and the analysts did. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say this. A&E knew when they signed Duck Dynasty, their beliefs, where they stood on, they actually attacked them once before when he used Jesus' name in a prayer and said, "We want you to stop it." Phil said no. They knew where they were grounded. They knew what their belief system is. They need Duck Dynasty. Duck Dynasty doesn't need them. Any other network would pick them up, and they'd be just as powerful, just as strong, just as big of a cash cow as they are now.
When you say they attacked him, what can you elaborate on that, or just explain that? Not to interrupt you, but just you threw that out there.
Oh no, they just basically they said that they were going to cut out the prayer at the end. If anybody's ever watched the show, they do a prayer at the end, and Phil says, "You do that, we're not doing the show." And so, you know, Pam keeps stating about, oh well, you know, it's in their contract and it's their job. You don't even know what's in their contract. None of us do. We're all just surmising and making these assumptions. If anything, Duck Dynasty calls the shots. These guys are not stupid. These guys are brilliant businessmen, whether they put it on TV or not. Secondly, the biggest issue here is, I agree with Alan, the biggest issue here is not freedom of speech. It's the gay community. The gays have been pushing, even since Obama's second term here, they've been pushing for acceptance. The second somebody says one derogatory thing about them or says one thing that resembles any form of hate speech, they get up in arms and try to get everybody against them. You take one Christian that comes out and says, "I believe in God," they're calling him a terrorist, an extremist, a revolutionist, that they should be locked up. But nobody ever does. Wait a second, let me finish this thought. But nobody does anything about it. Everybody's just like, oh, well, they're just the Christians or they're just the minorities or whatever. But the second a gay person is under attack, well, the whole community goes up in arms because, oh, gay equality and this and that. Listen, what's fair for one group is fair for the other. Let's call a spade a spade here. Well, you're right. Apparently not. But that's what the whole thing here is. It's not about what Phil said or didn't say or what A&E did or didn't do. It's the underlying thing is here is the acceptance in the gay community. And if people aren't seeing that, then you're missing the whole point behind this.
Okay, so I want to go to Alan and then Sheila and then Pam in that order. Everyone else wait, and then you're next. After everyone else is after that. Alan, then Sheila, then Pam. Go ahead, Alan.
I'm a little disturbed that my name was used to justify some of that with Steven's point. I guess my frustration here is I don't think this was a specific agenda item by anyone. I think there are people that felt hurt by this, and honestly, I haven't been paying attention to the issue much at all because I don't care about the guy. I just don't. But I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that people are not up in arms when other people say stupid things. There are lots of people that are critical when people say stupid things. And you see it all over the place. And that's people who say ignorant and stupid things about people who are homosexual. That's when people say ignorant and stupid things about people who are Christian. That's when people say ignorant and stupid things about people who practice any other faith as well. I see it a lot, and I think trying to say that, oh, this group is being protected and this group is not, I think is inaccurate in a lot of ways.
Okay, Sheila, what do you think about this?
Okay, I don't really watch Duck Dynasty.
Are you serious? I thought you had a picture on the wall. And
maybe,
you're usually in camis when you on the show.
Maybe behind another picture somewhere, but
What are your thoughts on the general issues that Stephen and Alan have been talking about, and the rest of us?
Well, it goes along with the issue. I'm in Utah, okay? This whole picture plays all around this whole thing too, but I still stand firm that marriage is between a man and a woman, but I will not shun someone who is a same sex, okay? I won't shun that. I have my personal reasons, but I won't shun them because they have rights too. But, that's my thoughts. So.
Okay, thank you for sharing them with us. Pam, what do you think? And let me see who's still here. I'm trying to balance this out here. Has Ellis gone?
Yeah, Ellis is gone.
All right, but Jody's still here. So Pam, and then we'll go to let's go to Jody after Pam, and then let's go to Sreek after that. Go ahead, Pam.
You're right that I don't know what's in the actual contract, Stephen. I can only imagine that what's in their contract is the same as what is in other contracts that are similar and have been reported, that there is a clause in there that prevents the employee from doing something to harm or disparage the company. I have such a policy at my work, and I work in biotech, so I can just imagine what a public broadcasting company would have. But as far as the gays pushing hard for acceptance, I mean, yes, they are pushing hard for acceptance, but that doesn't necessarily give them the political clout that one would need to make A&E make this decision. And the reason I'm saying that is because homosexuals make up less than 10% of the population by volume. So,
but if nobody had an issue with homosexuality, do you think this would have ever even come up in the media? I guess that was my point, and I don't want to say, I don't want to come across like I hate homosexuals.
No, I know you. No, I didn't take it that way. But people also have an issue with the religious right, and people also have an issue with evangelical Christians, and so I think it kind of balances out. I think that it's possible that some lawyers at A&E made some recommendations to HR or to the group handling this issue, and those recommendations might turn out to bite them in the ass, actually. But I don't necessarily think that this particular issue is any better or worse than Mel Gibson or Paula Deen or any number of other interesting celebrity slips over the years. It's just that it's a slow news time, and it's social media and things like that have created this viral issue of the day type of thing where I mean, seriously, have you seen it? Are you on Google Plus? You see the stuff in your streams on both sides, right?
Yeah. I watch the show and I'm kind of getting annoyed of seeing all of it. But
someone dies.
My thing is they're blowing this out of proportion, though. I mean, come on, you got to admit that he didn't slam anybody. They asked him a question, he gave his opinion. Just like you're asking my opinion. So
you do happen to realize that GQ is their subscription base is inordinately homosexual, right?
Right. That's what I'm. See, now you're getting where I'm coming from. The homosexual
slant there is. Well, but it's not. It wasn't an orchestrated thing like created to take down the Duck Dynasty. You know.
No, I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I kind of lean. I think one of you guys said it might have even be a publicity stunt that A&E's just kind of holding out on to keep
that would
it in
just
the
totally
media.
piss me off.
But I kind of somewhat agree with that to an extent. I don't think the Duck Dynasty guys are right on it in this sense because, I mean, let's face it, A&E they're making a killing off these guys. Let's talk business here, right? They're making a killing.
It's $1 billion business, absolutely.
They're not, Dan. I mean, irregardless of
it's
I'm a
almost
Christian,
as successful as the Tech Buzz.
If I'm making you $100 million a year. Are you going to care if I believe in Jesus or I believe in the devil?
I wouldn't care if you believe in the spaghetti
Stephen,
monster.
That's the point.
Yeah. Stephen, I would prefer if you believed in the devil. That would make a much better show.
You know what's funny is Barack Obama is actually a big fan, and in the last correspondence dinner, I think Conan O'Brien was the lead, and there's a story. I saw it. It's on Drudge Report, and it's the not the Christian Science Monitor. It's the CBN Pat Robertson's thing, and apparently they went up to some of the Robertson family and said, "Hey, can you're needed in the back," and President Obama was having a reception, his pre-speech reception, and they brought him in. And he said, "I'm a huge fan," and he said he watches Duck Dynasty on Air Force One. He loves it, and he lets his kids watch it. And so that was really interesting in retrospect, right? Because like literally today, he talked about gay, lesbian, transgender stuff in his press conference. But at the same time, this controversy is brewing, and it's a complicated issue. And I don't believe that Phil Robertson, when he said to GQ, he said, I find that a vagina is more attractive than a man's anus, right? Just to like lay it out there. That's what he said. That was the controversial thing. I don't believe that he made a choice for that. I believe that he naturally found one to be more attractive than the other. I don't believe that folks who are the opposite naturally chose that. I don't think it's like, gee, do I want to go with the A or B? Let me see.
Dan, what if I said I'm a Caucasian. Well, I prefer an African American woman. So does that make me somebody that hates white people?
I don't see.
Essentially, that's exactly what he's saying. Only he's referring to genitals.
I don't see the correlation.
Well, I mean, when you get the whole race and you get the whole you get into hate speech and everything like that.
I'm not convinced on the race thing. I'm not.
No. What I'm
saying
is
that it's fair to say he said anything racist. I haven't seen the evidence there yet.
They're calling it hate speech, man. That's what they're calling it. So, and they're calling it, he's racist and everything. I think you guys were even trying to pull up.
Well, I mean, there's a YouTube video that he said, homosexuals are God haters. That could be in the realm of hate speech. But that aside, I don't think it's chosen. I think it's biological.
But how is that hate speech if if we have the freedom of religion and he believes in the Bible, and the Bible, he believes that what the Bible says is true, that gives him the right to say what he said. If you're going to respect the person's belief, and they believe in the Quran or they believe in the Bible,
I totally accept that. I totally accept that. You know, he's a quote unquote King James version of the Bible believer, which omits a bunch of other books that contradict certain things. But I totally accept that. I'm also shocked that A&E didn't have a handler when this guy, who's as volatile as they come, is interviewing with someone, as someone else pointed out, is gay-friendly GQ. I mean, talk about a setup. And
that's why I think it's kind of partially somewhat of a publicity stunt.
I don't think it's a publicity stunt. I think we actually, you know, I mean, I've met two of them, and they're genuine. They're nice people. They're super nice people. They're regular people like I would encounter in a coffee shop or whatever. So let's advance this because we're almost out of time here. Let's see. We got is Jody around, or we can go to Sreek?
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah,
okay.
Sreek, go ahead. And we're literally getting up against the mandatory clock from Google, so go ahead quickly, Sreek.
Well, I'm just going to take a few minutes, that's all. I don't care about any, I don't care about Duck Dynasty, I don't care about religion, I don't care about gay.
Can you say Duck Dynasty one more time?
I don't know. How do you say that? How do you say that? Duck
I'm just
Dynasty?
kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right, so the bottom line is I believe in live and let live. I just have one thing to tell Stephen. I don't think what Stephen said is correct in terms of anything and everything somebody says about somebody who is gay and, you know, the entire gay community flares up and all that is bullshit. It is not the gay community trying to say that, you know, we need to be, obviously, right? So we know last time when this gay bill was there in, I don't know what the bill was called, Defense of Marriage Act or something, the prosecutor, I mean the other side, whoever it was trying to say, not from a biblical perspective, but from, oh, you know what, from a reproductive procreation perspective, this is not correct. But it's bullshit. Basically, he didn't want to bring Bible into the court, so he wanted to go by it. Dan, you and I had a discussion on this, right? It is, I mean, my thought process is, you know, if somebody is gay, let him be gay, let him have the equal rights. If two people want to live together as husband and wife or husband and husband, why the hell is a particular sect in the country, Christians or whatever it is, right, opposing that? When you oppose that, obviously when you call somebody like a gay guy is doing a sin, what do you mean? A Christian can't be gay? A gay Christian? A Christian can't believe in Christ? I mean, a gay can't believe in... I was studying in a Catholic school. I studied till 12 years in a Catholic school, and I'm a born Hindu. I don't really give a shit about religion. I do believe in God, though. And if people start saying that they have to live by what Bible says, or the country would be a lot more better than what it is right now. But they don't, right? They don't. Everything the Bible, how many Christians do you know who do that? Bottom line, this is all bullshit. I think A&E and what's the other company? GQ? They basically created this, and that's why there was no handler. They got free publicity, free advertisement. I didn't even know about Duck Dynasty before this. Think about it.
And that's why this is America, and you're entitled to your opinion, right or wrong.
Absolutely, and I think Phil, whatever his name is absolutely entitled to say whatever he wants. If some gay guy is felt bad about it, bullshit. Let the gay guy also say whatever he wants about Christ or Christianity or anything. Let him also have the freedom to go and get married to his partner. Why are the Christians opposing that?
Okay, so let me...
because he's a public figure, and that makes a controversy for the broadcast company that hosts his show.
My point is, if the Christians have a problem when every time a gay guy, somebody bashes gay and say that he's a sinner or something, and the entire gay community, the entire liberal community comes against them, it is something they asked for by trying to suppress or oppress the gay community from getting. This is not a country. This is I don't know, it's a secular country. I know that Christians and Jews try to say that this country was built on the Judaistic principles, but the Constitution says no. It is basically very, and religion is completely different. And there's a huge argument about that. What the hell? If somebody wants to marry somebody, I don't care.
Yeah, and that's
All
true.
right, so
Somebody wants to have sex in the Oval Office and he's the president of the United States. We're not supposed to say anything. You're absolutely correct.
Okay, so while I'm trying to figure out...
If it is not against the law, if you can't have public sex on New York... I believe in New York City, public speaking is allowed. And it's not against the law. If it is not against the local law or national law, it's fine. There is a Constitution.
So while we try to figure out why... Sreek, who's probably the richest guy on the panel, who lives in the richest city in the country, has the worst internet of anyone on the panel. Let me go to Alan. Alan, how many minutes do we have left? What are we down to?
15 minutes.
Okay, so let's get final thoughts here. Jody, did you want to weigh in? Jody, get ready, and there we go. There we go. Did you want to weigh in on this?
Sorry about that. The dogs
we're coming up against a hard break here.
Okay. I think I've already pretty much expressed my opinion, but I appreciate that everybody on this panel is entitled to their opinion as well. So that's what makes the world go round, guys.
Basically, we're all going to hell, is what Jody's saying.
Speak for yourself, Dan.
Okay. Michael Banks.
I'm totally going to hell.
Only out of courtesy, I'm asking you, because I mentioned... that's kind of sexy. You in your Santa outfit on the out deck with no lighting. It's kind of makes me a little crazy inside. Michael Banks, did you want to weigh in on this at all?
Sure. I have never in my life heard of or seen Duck Dynasty other than you saying about your Duck Dynasty video.
You're in the majority, but not the news watching majority, I guess.
While y'all were talking about it, though, I did see that it's on Amazon Prime for free, so I might check it out.
There you go. Watch it. I don't think they've specifically targeted you yet. No, I just, like I said, I mean, from what I saw, they were a super nice couple, and I think I think what he said was was pretty mainstream evangelical views, just not said in a polite manner. And because he's an unsophisticated guy who was thrust into this national spotlight, not involuntarily, they sought it out. They agreed to go. I mean, if you agree to have cameras follow you around for a reality show on cable, obviously you're not shy. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know, this is crazy. And my biggest question is, knowing all the circumstances in the wake of the Paula Deen controversy, why on earth did they allow this guy to do this interview without a handler or a PR person? So with that said, Stephen Heywood, how was your Google Plus week, sir?
Well, it helps if I unmute. It was clogged and clouded. I think I agree with Pam on that one. This is whatever happens, it's got to end now because it's clogging my feed up. But other than that, pretty good.
Awesome.
I gotta go, guys. Nice.
All right, see you, Sreek.
Bye.
All right, so Sheila, how was your Google Plus week?
My Google Plus week has been good and cold and snowy and fun. I almost hit a mailbox because I got stuck in the snow. That's my week.
I hope you had your video camera at bay so you can make it awesome.
That's the problem. I didn't take a picture of myself being stuck. I should have.
Hey, Sheila.
Yes?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Pam.
Sheila, were you able to sign up for the photo hunt?
I did. I was late getting in, so the comment stopped at 500, and I'm like, oh no! Well, Krista said I'm in.
Excellent.
I got in too for the first time.
You did, Pam.
Yes,
oh, that's awesome.
I've never tried it before, so we'll have to see.
Oh,
this will be fun. I can't wait to see. Can't wait to see. So how was your Google Plus week, Pam?
My Google Plus week was pretty fast, actually. It went by really quickly. My laptop died a horrible death of blue screen death, and my IT guy at work, I don't know what this means, but he flashed the BIOS. I don't know what that means. And I have my laptop back. He flashed the BIOS and blah, 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 something or other, and he got rid of Kaspersky, and that was corrupted and something else. And so I have my laptop back, so I'm able to be on the Hangout. Otherwise, I wouldn't be. The other two computers just don't have enough juice. So, but yeah. So that was it. Oh, and I love my new Note 3. You know, I was able to do almost everything on my beautiful Note 3 that I could do on my computer. Probably Hangout too.
so Pam, do you find your Note? Do you find it fabulous?
Yes, it is fabulous. It's a fabulous fabulate.
Michael Banks, how was your Google Plus week? Michael Banks, if you unmute yourself, we will actually hear how your Google Plus week was.
Yeah, I had to get on mute with all the Duck Dynasty talk and everything to talk about. My Google Plus week was awesome, besides Alan taking all my Google Plus week topics to talk about. So, other than saying I got Elf for free, he took that. Other than saying I did get in the photo hunt, he took that one too.
You're in the photo hunt too. This is awesome. We've got a nice turnout.
Other than those things, I think that's how my Google Plus week. I was very productive during your Duck Dynasty talks. That I sold back most of my college books from this semester. So Amazon Prime put in the work.
You sold your books?
Yeah, you can trade your, books, video games, and all kind of stuff back to Amazon, and they'll give you money back for it.
Wow.
So I just made like $80 during your Duck Dynasty talk.
So if somebody wants to do that, where do they go to find out about it?
Amazon.com.
I mean, like, I've never heard of like returning used stuff to Amazon. Normally they have a 30-day period.
Their textbook purchase buyback program. It's part of their services.
Yes,
we do it too. Yeah.
They have Amazon. Just type in Amazon Trade-in Store. You can trade in electronics, books, video games, movies, and music for Amazon.com gift cards.
Ah, sweet.
Cool.
And you can search your item, it'll tell you how much they'll give you for it, blah, blah. You just send it in, they'll give you a gift card for it.
So there'll be there'll be a new
Is
Sony
this
A7 in
this
Michael
for
Banks'
school or
history.
for anything?
I mean, just for anything. You can search for any item that, if they, offer it, and they'll tell you how much they'll give you for it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. And Alan Firstenberg, how was your Google Plus week, sir?
It was pretty good. I was excited to see the AppScript stuff come out, so that was good. I got in on the begging for some improved APIs for Google Plus, so that wasn't too bad. And I've been doing a lot of work on glassware, and that's always fun. I almost don't want to know what centerfold Michael is looking at right now.
I think it's from Gun Magazine, so it's probably some sort of
It was
target.
actually one of the science books. I took astronomy like a year ago, and that book was only like worth $8, so I forget it. So I'm gonna keep the poster.
I thought it was going to show the centerfold of Duck Dynasty.
Dan already got that. So, I mean, there's no point in showing that.
Okay, so Dan, we've got 5 minutes left. How was your Google Plus week? Keep it to 5 minutes, please.
Thank you all so much for watching. My Google Plus week was busy. It was our print week, and it's the pre-Christmas issue, so we had lots and lots of. Am I allowed to say Christmas in 2013? I'm sure. It was our pre-holiday week, it was crazy. We got it out. We got the issue out. We have a really interesting article about Pope Francis, and one of my star reporters actually is like a conspiracy theorist, and he was like, you know, I'm a fallen Catholic for 30 years, but I really like this guy, and he's actually, you know, writing stuff about the Pope, so good for him. It was busy trying to get the paper out in time, get it printed, because you can't delay it. It's the pre-Christmas issue, and there's lots of ads for Christmas and stuff like that. So I was pretty much, you know, incognito for most of the week, and but it all worked out. And it was really interesting to watch this Duck Dynasty thing play out, because it is a very complex issue. It forces us to confront some of the norms that we've heard. It forces us to relook at things, and it's just interesting. This whole reality television thing, coupled with modern religion and views of things, and that this is playing out while the president is referencing the issue in a press conference today, his end of the year press conference, which is traditional among presidents. It was just a really fascinating time. So it was fun to be an observer, and I really appreciate all the comments. I really appreciate all of you weighing in. I appreciate Stephen making a really effort, a valiant effort to join us, even though he wasn't really prepared to enter a potentially hostile audience to offer his view, which demonstrates to me that this is a First Amendment issue, and all the parties involved, the original person who said something, the company that decided to terminate him temporarily or what have you, the consumers who are reacting on either way, the analysts who are weighing in, all of them are exercising their First Amendment freedoms, which is a unique right in the United States, and to a somewhat greater or lesser extent in other countries. But our version, in my opinion, is the best, and I think it was demonstrated very well tonight. And I'm proud of our country, and I'm proud of all the participants who spoke their genuine feelings. So we do two shows. We do Our Android Week at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, on Monday nights, as I try to speak. We do Google Plus Week, this program, starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Friday nights. So Android, 9 p.m. Eastern, Google Plus Week, General Tech, and the latest Duck Dynasty tidbits. That's at Friday at 8:30 Eastern. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Panel, stick around for a moment. This was great. I really appreciate it. To all of you watching, thank you so much. Am I missing anything, Alan?
No.
You have no time to miss anything.
In our remaining 10 seconds. You've heard that on CNN, but it's real on YouTube Live. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Google Plus week, and appreciate the live comments, and peace out.
Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.